Because I know that she was. I know that she was watching, but I don't know if she's going to be hopping in.
We're live.
I sent her a link.
Live. I'll message her over Twitter.
Live.
What the hell is going on? Okay. All right.
Somebody say something. We're live.
I'm going to I'm trying to
I have to mute myself so I don't, because I always have my stream up and then my stream starts and there's no way to shut the sound off until my stream starts. So kind of
yeah, that would be a pain in the ass, I can imagine.
That's why I'm always late starting up. But anyway, we are live now. God help us all. Neph.
Yeah.
What am I
don't
doing?
know if Knock tells you didn't get it again, let me know and I can send it to him on Twitter or something.
I sent it to him like twice. So
I gave Erica a quick message on Twitter, just letting her know. I gave her the link and just said her, "Hey, we'd love to have you in the after show."
Yeah.
But yeah.
God damn it! I'm going to put a link. I'll put a link in, and if too many people join, and we're just I don't know what the hell to do. So I'm putting it in chat.
I'm sorry. What is it called? The little picture on the screen. It's called thumbnail, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God. Nathan did a good job on that. It looks good.
You guys finally got it.
Well, and I think he was dreaming about Nephy. I mean, that's
And did anybody notice how Nephy was explaining what changes in allele frequencies is? And I'd be like, yeah, that's evolution. And then he would redefine what it is, as in like this whole ass gene just completely changes. And I'm like, dude, no. All you need is small bits of it to change, the expression of them to change. And you can get different features from those expressions. Like, this is literally the basis of evolutionary theory.
I mean, it was so beautiful when he read something that he thought was going to be a gotcha, and it was not. It supported what you were saying.
Exactly.
And he didn't seem to understand what mutations were at all.
Exactly, dude. I didn't get that at all. He kept repeating the same thing. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't think you get it.
Hey, Leo, real quick, I just want to say you did a great job, dude. You did really good, man.
Hey guys, I got one more slot for Aron Ra.
Oh, is he going to be coming in? Please tell me he's coming in.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I just thought, Knock, you just told him how good he did. Before we went live, I actually gave him a standing slow clap of ovation.
John Peterson, we have been challenged to debate by Smokey Saint and Brett Keane.
What? On what? On what? You got to tell me.
I don't have a topic yet. I just looked at the email like 2 minutes ago. So.
Fuck, that's gonna be awesome.
Hey, he was.
Right, well, here's. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's what you have to do.
He wants to debate with Brett Keane.
Oh yes, yes, he wants to debate with Brett Keane.
Look,
oh my fucking God!
Knock.
Hey, Top Dog, could you drop also? Aron could get in, and I'll let you in later.
What do you mean?
No, not you, John. There's somebody backstage.
There's still room. There's
okay, I'm already in the room.
Here. You can have up to 10 people.
Aron, you're in like the wrong room. I think you're in the wrong room, Aron. Let me see. Let me try this again. I'm gonna put the link right here.
Isn't it 10 people in the show and backstage? Because I tried to join backstage.
Once 10 people are on stage,
okay.
People try to come backstage, but they can't, and it gives you a message. But anyway, Knock, what you have to do, you have to reply to that email. Was it from Smokey or from Brent?
It was from Smokey.
And tell him, sure, John agrees.
I already did.
I
already did.
Oh, well, but you have to remind him that my stipulation is no insults.
Oh no, there's going to be insults, my man.
Oh, well, then I'm not doing it.
Well, you got to do it. I will take care of the insults, John. I promise.
Please do it.
I will not debate that human piece of shit with the skinny arms unless he agrees to no insults.
My arms are skinny, but I've also got definition.
If he cannot have a fucking structured debate without fucking throwing insults and ad homs, I am not going to debate him. Period.
John,
End of discussion.
We'll talk about this when it's not Leo's moment, but you're going to debate him. I'm going to make you.
Does this link not work for some reason? Did you guys get the link out of chat? Because I sent it in chat.
I got it out of chat.
No, I actually I clicked the link that you actually sent me an email finally.
Right. I sent you one, Aron, an email and like two of them, I think.
Here, hold on a second.
From my
I'll get the link that you emailed me and I'll put it in live chat.
The universe does not want me to meet Aron Ra.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Oh, you haven't met yet? Really?
No, like he's the OG raging atheist. Like this is gonna be huge for me. So
I haven't invited.
I think when Nephilim Free brought up the book analogy, I think Leo did a great job just turning that on its head and just pushing that against Nephilim.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can you
Especially since DNA is in the book.
Okay, Aron is in the room, but I can't see him anywhere. So what the fuck?
What do you mean you can't see him?
You should give somebody else mod abilities and see if they can bring him in. Because it might be something on your end.
I don't know how to do that.
So what happens if I leave? Let me see what happens if I leave.
What the fuck? Okay. So if I so what the hell is going on? So somebody else just dropped out. So I don't get it. I don't see Aron. I do not see you.
The only other thing is my mic's not even down. Wow. The only other thing I can think is for. Okay, no, he already went. He already retried the link. So yeah, I don't know what the. That's something wrong.
Why doesn't it?
Mr.
Does it show a list of people?
I left, and then I used the link from the chat that you just recently
Right.
posted,
So I don't really get it. Why it's not? Maybe there's some sort of fucking creationist conspiracy, Aron, to keep you
Oh
off.
Jesus, this is fucked up.
Does
Dude,
it show
the anxiety is killing me right now.
This is mind-boggling.
It's a creationist conspiracy against Aron Ra.
It is.
My goddamn room.
Nephy put that voodoo on this room.
Does it show a list of people backstage?
I'm guessing Nephilim Free like redefined join link or something. He
I
must
don't
have.
understand why I can't get this fucking email though.
Rage, do you have to be like? Do you have to pay for StreamYard to be able to make somebody a moderator?
No, I don't.
So how do you?
I John has like my password and everything, so I'm not quite sure how you would make a moderator on StreamYard. Like John just gets right up into my account, so that's how he does it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get all up in Knox's account.
I can have one more.
I
right?
trust two people. I trust two people with my password. That's John Peterson and Dr. Josh Bowen.
The only other thing I can think, Speed, is to shut this down and restart it.
No.
No,
No.
we just kill everybody. It's
Well, I'm actually a fan of that idea because this isn't going anywhere without Aron Ra.
Yeah, I'm
Man,
sorry,
yeah.
it's not.
Well,
It's
right.
not. I don't want to be here if he's not in here. I don't.
I'm trying to bring my email up and get the link out of the email he sent me, and I'll try and put that in chat.
Leophilius just smashed my self-confidence. I'm gonna go and fucking bang my head against a wall now.
What?
I kid, my dude. I kid you.
Okay, that makes sense, Scott. I can't bring you in yet. We're trying to get Aron in.
It's really pissing me off. I'm about to just start punching the air in front of me, thinking.
All right, well,
Maybe Aaron should just go live.
and if somebody's backstage, if the 10th person is backstage, they have to leave the backstage area, or there's no room.
Yeah. Tell everybody that's backstage, if you can hear us, everybody, including Aron Ra, leave. Nobody else come backstage. Let Aron come backstage and see if that does.
Yeah,
So
Ian
if
Chen.
you're backstage, close out StreamYard. Everybody.
Ian Chen just nailing it, man. You are a giant amongst us for sure. Listen to how much they want you on.
Yeah.
The rest of you are compared to Aron Ra. You greedy fox, let him come in, and then you can. The rest of you can come in. Okay.
Aron's perfect.
I got a question for
Yeah, he's
John.
We're
What
really
did you
trying
do
to
to
get
stand in for truth to piss him off so much in
Okay,
life?
made you a moderator. So now you're a moderator. What the hell?
Fucking
I think we had a question for John Peterson, didn't we?
Yeah, John, what did you do to stand in for truth to get him so pissed off in the live chat?
I must have not seen that.
Standing for Truth has like bipolar
Yes,
personality.
he just snapped. I was like, what?
Well, yeah, and he said that I'm a creepy dude who has women getting restraining orders against me.
Wow.
All I've ever done with Standing for Truth is tell the truth. Tell him the truth.
And what's curious is I didn't even go that hard on Standing in the live chat because he was talking shit about Leo, and I was like, my man, you haven't debated him yet. Like, shut the fuck up. Just like, if you want to talk about him, debate him, and then like go off on him.
Leo, you triggered SFT tonight.
And then he was like, was trying to talk to me about like, oh well, like you're a nobody, like you're not worth like talking to. Like,
that's what he told me. He was like, you don't even understand what Leo is saying. And I'm like, my dude, I have Leo in my rooms all the time.
It was
like,
serious.
He was like, you don't even understand
what Leo
is saying.
Who is somebody?
Well, and then fucking I think it was Standing for Truth told Immutable at one point, dude, stop tagging me. You're so stupid. Every time you tag me, I lose more brain cells. And then later on, he said the same thing. He said the same thing to me, and I said, "Hey,
yeah."
I said, Standing for Truth. You already said
we did it.
Said that joke. You already said that joke to somebody else. What are you doing? Reading another one of your scripts? I said, Standing for Truth. You already. Oh.
Okay, so
Speed. Put him in the center.
Put you in the center.
No, put Aron Ra in the center. There you go. Boom. So, there you go. I want to start this by first asking Immutable Destiny. Any criticisms that you had, just lay them on me. You know I'm not going to be offended.
Oh God, I did. Actually. Yeah. I was. It maybe like I misheard part of the debate, but like you seem to be conflating like mutation at some point, like being it like mutation, gene expression. And, like allele frequency, like
I might have. I think I did. I think I did a couple times. Yeah.
I should be a little harder on myself because I didn't expect Nephy to go so far into like the genetic aspect of it.
Yeah,
like,
neither was I.
Yeah, I heard it, but I don't think it mattered because Nephilim only knows his script anyway. So did he even catch it?
No,
he should update his script because he opened up with the same lies that I'd already refuted in my Foundational Falsehood series 12 years ago. And Nephy says he's been doing this for 12 years. So what is his excuse for the bullshit I saw tonight?
Yeah.
Well, Aron, to be quite not in defense of Nephilim, but this isn't atypical of creationists like that I've dealt with online at all.
They all do it.
Like one of the other people Standing for Truth, who is a regular in the debate community, has admittedly like not studied genetics very much, but when there's things like gene conversion like that we bring up, which are actual mechanisms like in genetics that are well understood, he calls them rescue devices because he thinks that his portion of genetics is completely accurate despite not knowing anything about it at all.
It's like I know a handful of geneticists who would immediately challenge everything, not just challenge, but completely throw down a lot of the bullshit that he said. And I mean, just everything he said was so goddamn stupid. I mean, how does he not know after all this time?
Well, I like I'll steer your quote temporarily about ignorance. It's not just what you don't know. It's what you refuse to know.
Exactly.
Because if you don't know something and you refuse to know something, and in some sense it partially justifies your stupid beliefs. But remember, I mean, creationists aren't out for truth. They're out to convert people into their,
Wait a minute. There's creationists out there called Standing for Truth. They stand for truth.
There are.
You mean falling for lies.
Well, Leo, I just have one critique for you.
Go ahead.
you debated Nephilim free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I look at standing for truth, either standing for ignorance or standing for arrogance. I think I prefer arrogance, though.
Yeah.
Well,
Go hand in hand.
I remember a time when Standing for Truth was supposed to debate Aron Ra, but he didn't show up to that non sequitur show.
I'm not surprised. Wasn't it
he
Standing
didn't show
for
up.
Truth? And then, like, didn't Raw Matt end up showing up in his place
Yeah.
or something like that?
Yes, Raw Matt, the fruitarian.
By the way, Aron, did you see that I alluded to your, I believe, the phylogeny challenge in one of my questions where I said, so where's the cutoff point? Which creatures were the ones that were created by God? Like, where's the termination point on your model? And he just sidestepped that. And also, when I tried to bring him into the genetic entropy discussion, because I had already corrected him on allele frequencies and everything, he kept going back to that because he couldn't admit that he was just fucking wrong.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely everything he said. I mean, when he was talking about the simple stuff, when he said that mutations are not a driver for evolution. I've got 2 textbooks up here, college level textbooks that are both decades more recent than his sources, and they both clearly say mutations are the driver for evolution. I can cite a number of geneticists who will say the same thing. He thinks that if he quoted somebody from 40 years ago out of context, that somehow refutes the entire academic community, who all unanimously agree that Nephilim Free is an idiot.
Yeah.
There's 2 points I want to bring up to that. And number one is that this wasn't about genetics, but he was talking about geology in one of his like casual streams where he just kind of jerks himself off ever so slightly.
Is this one where he says that a meteor or something hit the planet and caused this huge flood from under the continental plates? Which
You're talking about
Bukkake moon.
The lunar Bukkake theory.
Oh, you're talking about lunar Bukkake. That's the one where he thinks that the waters under the Earth somehow, we don't know how, shot up at such a high velocity that it broke through all the crust layers, carried a whale out, above the ground, out of the atmosphere, and somehow landed a whale on the moon. I'm not making this up, by the way. This is something he did 8 years ago.
I also wanted to point out, as for the whole mutation thing,
okay, I gotta share a screen.
I cited from New Scientist, which is a reputed outlet. I cited from the APS, which is, the American Phytopathological Society, I believe. And then I cited from Nature Journal. All of them saying, mutations essentially drive evolution. So
Hey, Leo, at one point, didn't he cite something from like the 1750s or something? I thought I heard him say.
Yeah, he was citing, these people have known this for this long. I'm like, dude, I don't even know where to start with this. Like,
every lesson in every college that teaches evolution, in the last 30 years or so that I've been, bouncing in and out of school on this, they're all teaching what he says was disproved 90 years ago, except that nobody in the academic community knows that it was disproved 90 years ago. They'd all have to go find Nephilim to find that out.
Exactly. They don't know it hasn't been disproved. They don't know it's been disproven because it hasn't been disproven, because we still rely on those methods. Yeah. And we still rely on evolutionary principles when we're culturing bacteria, for instance, that we'd like to develop a drug for, to try and kill it if it's, involved in cancer or some hard disease.
I know that the live debates are fun and all, but the problem is that this is not the way. The reason that this is not the way science does it is because you both have a prepared presentation that you're going to give, and then whoever goes first is going to be blindsided by the surprise that the second guy comes up with. And if you're already doing your presentation, if you've written it before before you begin, you can't address all of the lies and nonsense that he just spewed out.
Yeah.
So what it should be done in writing. If the truth mattered, then that's how it would be done. Somebody would make their argument, and instead of having to do it right there on the fly, you would be able to look up his sources and say, no, it doesn't say that. This is what it actually does say, and then quote directly with citations. Creationists can't give proper citations. All they can do is out of context quote mining, and that's it.
Yep.
Well, okay. So the issue with that is as well, right, is that the way we do science, right, is we go in the laboratory, we find something we want to study, and we study that thing. And we do it in a very controlled manner, and we are very clear about the hypothesis we're making and the methods we're using and such and such and such. And you never will see creationists appealing like to primary literature. Because guess what? Primary literature is hard for people to read.
Yeah.
It's very technical to read. And almost never will you be able to actually be able to have enough knowledge in the field to actually refute what they're saying unless you are an expert in that field. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, this happens with abio communities, but also happens in any other field that creationists don't understand. That's why a lot of creationists will oftentimes comment on topics that their expertise is nowhere near close to, like engineers commenting on biology. And
you know what that reminds me of? Sal Cordova in the chat's like, so is Leo a biologist? And I'm like, no, Sal, and you're not either. So he kept trying to bring up, well, you know, I talk with him. I'm like, yeah, but you're not a biologist.
Right. So guys, before we move on, the lunar Bukkake hypothesis is featured in the Rational Wiki, and they attribute it to Nephilim 3. Which is
that's where it originated from.
So he is credited. So he is credited with actual science besmirch.
Yes, he is.
Hey, I'm gonna. It's Boomer o'clock, and
oh man,
Boomer o'clock. Hey, I'm older than you are, ain't I?
Oh yeah, but I'm old and fat, so it hits me harder. But I just want to real quick say to Aron Ra, even for like 10 minutes, it was an honor. Yeah, I know. I said it wrong. It's getting late. That's literally the only time I've ever said his name wrong. But right to his face, for Christ's sake. But anyway, I just want to say, even though it was rolling for 10 minutes, it was an honor being in stream with you. I love your shit, and you know, I'm a guy and everything, but I'm a big guy, and you know, I have a pretty nice set. Like, would you autograph my tits, man? All right. I made Aron Ra laugh.
Yeah.
This was all right. Thank you so much, Speed, for letting me come on, man.
Okay. Have a good night, John.
Take it easy, John.
John. Leo, great job, man. Great job.
Thank you. So, Aron, how many times have you had other people say, can you autograph my tits?
A couple.
Well, guys,
first time from a guy.
There we go.
Well, you get that kind of treatment on my channel.
I wanted to share something about Nephy. It was just 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember how long ago. I think it was just a couple of years ago. I got a message from him somehow. I think he was commenting on a video or something, but not my video, somebody else's. So he was responding to me. I don't remember how he got in touch with me. Anyway, he was challenging me. He was saying that the reason, and apparently I had talked to him once before, and I didn't remember that I had ever talked to him before. But he told me 2 or 3 years ago that the reason no one has heard of me in the last 7 years is because of how badly he beat me in a debate that I don't even remember having. And that's why all of y'all don't even know who I am.
That's why we wanted you. That's why we didn't want you to come in, because we didn't know who you were.
That right is that I genuinely believe this, and it's because Nephilim has given me all the reason to believe this and no reason not to. Is that Nephilim truly does not understand? Well, that's kind of oxymoron. Well, it's kind of already. Nephilim doesn't understand like that other people know more than he does.
No.
And I mean that in the most literal way. It's like a 5-year-old thinking like that they know more than, you know, their mother and dad or about if Santa Claus exists or something like that. But that's Nephilim's attitude on everything.
I debated him for 1 hour, and he insisted that one amino acid change in a protein would destroy its function. And I showed him that.
I talked with him about that. I talked with that about him and logical, plausible, probable as well, because they both hold that position. And I told him, I'm like, okay, well, what about like the alpha helices or the beta sheet or any of the higher motifs that are formed from those basic subunits?
Yeah, they told me I was evading when I talked about beta sheets and alpha helices.
Well, and it's one of those points like where if you don't understand like the basic building blocks of proteins or the genetic dogma, right? How are you going to comment about whether or not a protein can be functional once a mutation occurs to it?
And
because
how do you account for all of the changes that we can definitely confirm have happened, and that those changes remain evident in the genome?
Yeah, and they're rarely changed. Like there are some genes, I believe they're called pseudogenes, that essentially are broken copies of genes that were present in more basal life forms. The gulo gene is an example of one, but I believe...
And I mentioned that as well.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, you ask about where does information come from, but there's several different ways to answer that question. I mean, quantum mechanics, if you really want to be pragmatic about it, but the sequence of DNA itself is information. And it's information that's embedded, but it's information that's transferred by RNA sequences.
Yeah. So, I want to jump in here really quick. At about 10:30 in the side chat, Brainbug said SFT just called Leophilius and Aron raw. Well, I take that as a fucking compliment. So there was something else that was said. I can't. Let me see. Oh, Jesus! I just fucking lost. Son of a fucking ass. Let's scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up.
Just wait till you get my age. It happens a lot more.
Brenda.
Oh, no, here it is from James Hogue. How come Aron's S's don't whistle? No, this is the thing. When Neph would whistle, it sounded like a smoke alarm that beep when the batteries were down.
Like the G-Man beep, beep, beep.
But
yeah.
I got an email from Just a Walking Fish from Walker, and he said, dude, just letting you know that you fucking nailed Neph. My favorite part was when you nailed him on information loss and genetic entropy and loss gain. Not gonna lie, I'm not joining the stream because I made the debate a drinking game, drinking when Neph says something stupid, and I'm unsurprisingly fucked up, but I just wanted to say great job, dude.
Walker, if you were playing a drinking game with those kind of rules, you'd be under the table.
Well, Stupid Horror said, she's like, drink every time Nephilim whistles, and I'm like, dude, and this was at like maybe 10 minutes into his opening, and I'm like, I would be out of beer, and I had two tall boys, two 16-ounces. I just took my last gulp. I would have been out completely.
Oh yeah,
you can tell Leo's age by that statement. Two
Stupid
tall
Horror
boys.
Energy has a question for you, Aron. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah, I don't know what a cura is. It doesn't sound
with respect to state.
Well, he was that argument that fucking Nephy made. I'm just like, that doesn't. Oh my god! I'm just like, dude, I just don't think you stand what. And notice how he didn't really ever provide a creationist model. He just criticized wrongfully the evolutionary model, which is a theoretical framework.
Isn't that exactly like arguing with flat earthers?
Oh, except 100%.
It's worse.
100%.
Can I say something, please?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say hello to Aron Ra. I don't think I've ever been in a hangout with him at Aron, and I followed him on his YouTube channel and watched his videos for several years now, and I'm just happy to be in a hangout with you. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Live long and prosper.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Brenda, John Maddox has disappeared from the scene since Matt butthurt him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, he hasn't done streams. He hasn't been on debates. He's been in a couple of other streams. But I've also noticed, and Brenda was there no, not last night. Last night, wasn't it? Ray there too. When Smokey claims that he never put, and I don't know if you know who Smokey's saying is Aron, probably not, because he's essentially a fucking nobody.
He's a vile human being.
Yeah, but he claims that he never puts atheists backstage. And I'm going to be honest, because I give credit where credit's due. Rarely does he ever put people backstage in his streams. But me and Brenda and Rage here showed up and started just straight grilling him, especially me and Brenda. We were holding his.
Yeah, I wasn't so much into it at that point. He put me in the backstage because I was laughing.
And he kept putting me backstage because I explained to him what a scientific consensus is and how it's reached, because he seemed to think that it's just a bunch of people that have letters after their name, as he puts it, that just make a guess on something. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. You have a bunch of relevant academic professionals in a particular field examining the data and running the same tests over and over and over again and consistently coming to the same conclusions. And they find that, oh, look, we keep getting the same results. Obviously, these results mean something. We should take these as being the case. And that's exactly what they do. And he just wasn't having it, and Rage called him straight out. He's like, dude, you don't like a consensus because it disagrees with you on practically every fucking thing that you believe.
The The thing he didn't get is he thought that appealing to scientific consensus is appealing to ad populum, but
Exactly.
the thing he doesn't get is that one, it's an appeal that says it's most likely to be true. The scientific consensus is most likely to be true because they are the relevant experts in the field, but it isn't the consensus that makes a claim. Say, for instance, climate change. It isn't the consensus that makes it true. It's the scientific method. It's the method that makes it true. But the fact that it's a consensus means that it's more likely to be true than maybe a competing hypothesis.
Right. Well, and the thing is, importantly with that is some people will say, oh, well, well, evolution can't be disproven. Yes, it can. There are very easy ways that evolution could be disproven.
Find a Pegasus.
Yeah, and they're competing. They're competing interpretations of evolution. There's Evo, Devo, and other different types of interpretations, and those are always in competition with each other, right? And so, which one is true is not always clear. But eventually, it's going to settle on a consensus. Eventually, science does settle on a consensus, and at that time,
I don't see those as different interpretations. Those are all overlapping.
Well, they fight with each other, though, don't they?
Some of them, I think.
They don't.
Evo is understanding how evolutionary development parallels biological development from fetus or from embryo.
Okay, well, maybe it was a bad example, but there are competing hypotheses or theories within a certain discipline, and that competition between them can get pretty ugly sometimes, but eventually they settle on the consensus.
Yeah, no, that is generally true, but I don't know of any competing, like, alternate concepts of evolution where if one is true, then the other isn't.
Okay. Yeah, that may have been a bad example.
The only thing that's like really up to interpretation is the whole crap about quantum mechanics, which I think is a stupid fight to begin with. For me, it's basically, look, as long as the theory works, let's consider the interpretation of the theory.
Are you speaking about the different interpretations or something related to quantum mechanics and like biology?
Just quantum mechanics specifically, so many world interpretation, Copenhagen interpretation, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Which I find that argument about which one is correct to be an important one, but ultimately worthless.
That reminds me, and Brenda will remember this. I'm sure Rage will too. When Sunflower came in and said, "Yeah, well, there aren't any interpretations of quantum mechanics that are deterministic," and Smokey let me in the room,
that
right?
Was hilarious.
Yeah. Brenda's like, "Yeah, there is." And, I mean,
kind of
no,
like
there's not.
Bohemian mechanics.
Yeah, I literally what I said. I'm like pilot wave theory, and he kept repeating the word stochasticity. And then when Smokey asked him to define it, he couldn't define it because he doesn't know what it is. He just mentioned me and how I had mentioned stochasticity because he heard me say it and somehow thinks that because he heard me say it, he knows what it means when he fucking does it. But Bohmian mechanics, otherwise known as the de Broglie-Bohm interpretation, otherwise known as pilot wave theory, is an interpretation of quantum mechanics, though it's not accepted by really anybody anymore. And it is explicitly deterministic.
I'm not sure if he was still there, Leo. I have COVID, so my brain ain't working. But like I eventually went off on Sunflower last night. I went off on the dude. I mean, I just couldn't take it anymore.
Thank you.
Hey, Leophilius.
Yeah.
There's been some news recently about Bohmian mechanics, and they've redone the original experiments with the oil droplets. Mm-hmm. And they can't get them to go through the double slits. They think that the original experiment was it was misinterpreted. It wasn't. It was not a good experiment. They say.
Wait, you mean experiment?
What does it for me for Bohmian mechanics is the fact that we don't have a relativistic model of it, which is where we take the concepts of special relativity and combine them with quantum mechanics. We can do that with the Copenhagen interpretation. Hell, you can even do that with the Everettian model, many worlds interpretation, but you can't do it with Bohmian mechanics. Also, we don't have a quantum field theoretical description under Bohmian mechanics. We literally cannot explain the interactions of fundamental particles. You can't explain the standard model of elementary particles utilizing Bohmian mechanics.
What do you think?
Hold on. You want to know why I think Bohmian mechanics is bullshit?
Yes, I do want to know.
Bell's inequality.
Exactly, and that was one of the things where it's like, yeah, no, this pretty much throws Bohmian mechanics.
What do you think? Leo? What do you think of these two civil servant workers from Finland who published recently their interpretation. Have you heard of that?
Do they have a name for their interpretation? Because I feel like I read something about that.
It didn't have a catchy mnemonic name that I can't remember, but it was fairly recent.
There is a newer interpretation of quantum mechanics that I personally don't understand or understand why it exists, but it's called cubism.
Oh, quantum Bayesianism.
Yeah, that is the theory that they published recently about. It's a recent publication, and it's been getting some attention. I have no idea. I can't judge on how accepted these things are. I have no idea.
I don't understand what it is quantum Bayesianism is trying to even state.
I think it's somewhat similar to the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation, where it states that like the agent that's doing the experiments is central to how the experiments are measured, which we pretty much already know is not the case.
I think that would cause, like, if that were to be true, that would raise several rabbit holes that are not easy to settle.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I've had people like, next time I doubt it'll ever happen, because ever since I was in one of LPP's, John Maddox's streams, and completely educated the whole fucking stream on what quantum mechanics is without even having to go deep into it because nobody knew what the fuck they were talking about, I haven't had a single interaction with him since, but he's also gone missing. But if I ever get an interaction with him, I want to ask him what interpretation he adheres to, because he thinks that consciousness collapses the wave function, which is what the von Neumann interpretation
That's what he said on Modern Day Debates when I debated him.
Praise said the same thing, and the very last question that was asked, I think you'll probably remember this, Brenda, was from me, and I asked Praise, so do you know what an eigenbasis is, and do you know what happens when an eigenbasis projects to one particular basis eigenstate? But he doesn't understand linear algebra. I asked him in his own stream, which was an after show of that debate, if he knew what a function of a variable was, f of x, and he said no. And I was just like, oh my god.
Well, you got to see the hangout with speed of sound of gravity here, where Praise told a native Hebrew speaker didn't know how
he knew more about Hebrew than he did.
Praise knows more about Hebrew than I can Israel.
Praise literally told Dr. Josh that he's wrong so many times I can't even count it. I mean, it's pathetic.
Did anybody watch the debate that he had against T-Jump and Skylar Fiction? Which he tried to be a Mark Dawkins, and the whole time I'm laughing because T-Jump is just fucking schooling him.
We didn't just lose. We lost somebody. Who was it?
Did we?
I do want to ask Aron a question, because this is a question. So I'm familiar with the concept of selfish of Richard Dawkins' famous concept of selfish genes. Do you know if that's still well accepted in literature, or if it's been?
I can't even hear your question.
Oh,
Say
I'm sorry.
again.
Sorry. I was asking about the selfish gene idea, and whether or not you know if that's still a well accepted idea in biology, or if it's.
Yeah, I think it was bolstered by at least one other writer subsequent to him, but I can't remember who that was.
Okay. Because I think it's actually an interesting idea. I think it's an interesting lens to view evolutionary theory with.
Yeah, somebody opened it up mathematically, and that's the reason I don't remember it, is because I don't think in mathematic terms. So when you show me your equation that's supposed to clarify everything, it doesn't for me.
No, I will definitely give you that mathematics, it's like trying to learn a new language, really.
I'm the same way. It's like Greek to me. Just don't
well,
even try.
Is that because we use the Greek alphabet?
We are going to explain this shit to you on this channel one way or the other. We'll break it down.
What's actually really cute about that statement, Knock, is that when you start getting into science and equations, they tell you, oh, we're going to use Greek letters because the normal letters just aren't big enough to really accommodate.
What the fuck, Immutable? God damn it, guy.
People just died. Oh no. Anyway,
on the Yahweh intervened.
From 20 minutes ago, I got this thing up on the screen about pregnant fish, and there is some the viviparity in fish, and they're claiming that the placenta developed like.
Are you talking about what Richard Madsen brought up on Rage's channel? And I brought up, what was it?
Okay, but look at this.
I think it was either homotrophic or heterotrophic viviparity, and he claimed it was a placenta-like thing.
Yeah.
And he said, and I don't know if anybody else caught this. I don't know if you caught this, Rage. I don't know if anybody else was here in there, but he came in saying that, well, Richard Dawkins said that if you could find a rabbit in like the whatever it is layer in the geologic record, that would completely upend all of evolution. And he said, well, I just showed you something that's 4 times worse. And so
this is it.
What he was getting at was that evolutionary theory is wrong. And then I came in and I'm like, no, you're talking about viviparity. It's placenta-like, but it's not a placenta. And then he ended up conceding that he wasn't trying to overturn the whole of evolutionary theory, when initially that's exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, okay, this is in modern fish, and
hemotrophic. There we go. There's the word.
Well, they found a fossil. I guess they found a fossil embryo, like from 300 million years ago or longer or something. But anyway, it's a different kind of. It's not necessarily the same kind of placenta
as a mammalian placenta. Yeah.
Are we talking about Richard trying to argue about placental fish?
And I don't want to brag, but I did kind of school him on it. And I kept quoting often through some form of placenta. And he said, well, what's that last word? And I said, some form of placenta. And I said, Richard, there are nuances in evolutionary theory and biology that you have to take into consideration here. You can't just say, well, this word, therefore this. No, there are nuances there that you have to take into consideration. That's why I'm not granting you the point that you think I'm going to.
I love Richard. Entire worldview is based on binary thinking. How can you expect him to understand nuance?
I love Richard, but nuance really isn't his thing. And like, I'm gonna have a talk with Richard. He's gonna come on my channel soon for another talk.
Oh, can I?
Because but like, since he's started talking with Smokey, and I don't know, there's been a change. There's been a change.
Well, and I love how he went off about that a scientific consensus is a bias, and Immutable was just fucking like, dude, no. The fact that we can corroborate experiments that are already done by repeating them and showing that, hey, when we do the same exact experiment the same exact way, we get the same exact result, does not mean there's a bias. It means that the results are fucking accurate. That's not a bias.
I mean, that stream, like, I was actually just like kind of stunned. It wasn't like the Richard Madsen I know, like it kind of blew me out. I didn't really know what to say to Richard because it wasn't normal Richard Madsen,
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it amazes me that people make that type of claim, because it's like, no. Like, some experiments you might argue can be biased, like in a statistical way, because not all science necessarily feels like doing 30 to 50 experiments to account for statistical significance. But typically we do a few. I mean, we have a decent sample size that, if there is any bias, like statistically speaking, in that sample, we can detect it. And we know like what it does to the upper and lower bounds of our data and the types of predictions and conclusions we can make about it. So saying that statement doesn't really add anything. It's like, yeah, you're telling me statistic exists. Wow, go fucking figure. I knew that already. I tell you.
That's beautiful. So Andrew Cumming would like to ask Aron Ra a question.
Oh, sorry about that. So this was related to something that I want to say about I believe you mentioned stickleback fish in your presentation. Is that right, Leo?
Yes. Well, in the back and forth, yes.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to ask you, Aron, on the idea of and I've asked this to other people in here, but like, how do you feel about the field of Evo Devo specifically, and the idea that mutations to regulatory regions might be more potent in evolution than mutations to protein coding regions? What's your opinion on that, if I may ask?
Well, I don't know if I can address the second one, because you're weighing out. But on the first, Evo Devo is like a third important way of confirming phylogeny. I mean, we originally didn't have a fossil record, so they turned to embryology, and they noticed these correlations in embryology, and then the fossil record started following the same pattern. And then when it came to the development of dinosaurs, for example, for feathers in dinosaurs, they map the exact developmental stages in the development of feathers in the fossil record with the development of feather in stages in a chicken embryo. So that was quite remarkable. So once we get a hold of DNA or the ability to read it, and we're only talking about like maybe 3 decades ago, is when they're finally confirming these patterns do match. And it's unfortunate that the guy who came up with I forget his name off the top of my head, the one who came up with the idea of recapitulation or phylogeny recapitulates ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Yes,
Haeckel, I believe, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Haeckel.
Ernest Haeckel?
Yes, Ernest Haeckel. Had he not been so strict in the way that he phrased that, he could have summarized the description just a bit more, left it a little bit more ambiguous, and we would have still considered it accurate today. But one of the things that he stipulated was that organisms had to go through their adult stages, and that was one of 2 mistakes that he made in his biogenetic law. And if he hadn't made those 2 mistakes, we'd still be calling it a law. And instead, Ernst Mayr overturned him and said, no, it's not like this. They don't go through their adult stages. They only go through their embryological stages, or in infancy. It's like one of the laws of evolution that the closely related organisms will resemble each other more in their youth or in the embryonic stage where they're in their development than they do as adults.
Well, in some sense, though, it's important that people make mistakes like that, because we only learn in science by making mistakes and by challenging previous like well-accepted scientific theories. Sometimes those theories have their limitations, and it doesn't turn out to always be correct. And there's fundamental nuance at a deeper level.
What I find more amusing about this was the fact that this was not a theory. This was a law.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm just tickled whenever people come up with these laws. And we look at the way the creationists interpret laws. They think that laws have to pre-exist everything, and so that it's not even about people discovering these laws and summarizing what they are. They don't realize that that sometimes, and I can't remember the other good example right now. One of you physicists, I'm sure, will have it off the top of your head, where somebody comes up with a law and then they realize there's a flaw in that law, and now the law is not a law anymore.
Like Newton's laws of motion, which don't really make sense at the quantum level of reality. And the reason is because the laws, we use the word law, and that's the reason why all these goddamn creationists and intelligent design proponents have no fucking clue what they're talking about, is because the laws, they're not literally something that supervenes reality, that prescribes its function. They're descriptions of the consistencies that we observe in reality. And sometimes those consistencies can break down, and there is a huge disconnect between the quote-unquote laws, say, at the classical level and within Newtonian mechanics, and the laws within quantum mechanics.
Well, and it's not laws, and it's not like the laws of classical mechanics, like kinematic motion and stuff like that, are incorrect. No, exactly. They're perfectly valid within their own.
We were talking about this we were talking about this morning. They have a foundationally different way of thinking, and they think in terms of why questions and like beginning.
I like the way that Aron Ra puts it. He says they think top down when reality works bottom up.
Yeah, exactly, and they're fundamentally different in their approach to that's why they don't get methodological naturalism.
Yes.
They absolutely cannot wrap their heads around what we're doing, and they miss everything after that. They have to go. Oh my
God, Ray! Wow,
because they have this Bible shit, that they believe in, that they believe answers all of these why questions for them in advance, and then they try to shoehorn everything into that.
Yeah, there was a creationist in a chemistry class that I was taking, and so I just called attention to the fact that they were teaching Dalton's model of the atom, and another, I can't remember again which two we were talking about. We know that they why are we teaching them? We're teaching them because they work. Stoichiometry has an application. It's not an accurate representation. It's flawed.
Yeah.
Right. But we have to teach it because it has practical application and it does work. And so I had to just call attention to the guy. Hey, we know that this isn't true, but we're going to teach it anywhere because it's part of the big conspiracy, right? And it's fun getting people to understand that why you have to work with a model and why you can't just say, well, I think there's a flaw with that, therefore we can't teach it at all. So
well,
just
Sal Cordova and what the hell is his name? Sanford right now. Their big thing is redefining fitness.
Yeah.
And they're picking on the Fisher-Wright theorem, which is like from 1930. It was the very first population genetics equation. And it was very, very simplified and very idealized. And they're picking on this theory as if they topple this one equation, that they will topple evolution. What they don't understand is that all of these pop gen formulas and equations are nothing more than idealized ways part of the problem. They are not the thing in itself.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, right? And this is about like model theory in general. When you want to model something in science, you have to work from a mathematical theory. And usually those are either differential equations that are coupled together or not coupled non-coupled differential equations that are just hard as shit to solve. And in fact, some of them have no analytic solution, which means that the solutions that you can obtain for them require infinitely many terms.
Yeah.
And of course, that's very hard to do because you're taking a lot of time in terms of computation and processing.
You see that a lot in partial differential equations.
Well, and even with just ordinary differential equations, you have that occur all the time.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's like, for scientific practicality, okay, we may not be able to express the full solution to this, but if we make an approximation such as, let's assume that the behavior of the system is linear as time goes to zero or at time close to zero, it makes things a hell of a lot simpler for us. There are mathematical assumptions we can make that within a certain regime and within a certain realm of error are correct. And we choose.
There's another concept they don't get. It's either got to be absolutely proven true, which never happens except in math, or it's absolutely proven false. There's never examples like I said with the Dalton model. We learned that the quantum model has more application in another area. Well, why don't we teach that instead? We can't teach that instead. We have to teach that also.
Yes.
And that there are degrees of certainty. Mm-hmm. Why don't they ever get that?
Because if they understood anything, they'd have to admit that they're wrong, and they don't care about being right or wrong. They care about protecting a preconceived worldview.
Yeah.
Well,
I once had.
Go ahead.
I once had someone tell me this. I believe it was an urban legend about, and this may not be related, but some medieval scholars were arguing over the number of teeth a horse has. Some were arguing for the scripts of Galen of Pergamon. And some were arguing for the texts of Aristotle, and they kept arguing over this. And according to the legend, or this apocryphal story, I guess, one of the monks there asked, "Why not go outside and look and see if how many teeth this horse has? I mean, they're right outside the stable." And they were like, "Are you crazy?" And I kind of like this story, even if it may be apocryphal, because I feel like it gets at another thing creationists, like you said, Leo, we're getting, which is that like they're not focusing on what is truth. They're focusing on, or I guess you could say they're focusing on a different kind of truth. Like I said, it kind of gets blurry here.
Yeah.
But like, I hope you get what I'm saying, that like it's a different, they're in a different realm, basically.
Yeah. And you had mentioned horses, which brought something to my mind. Did anybody else notice that I brought up like 4 or 5 different examples of a transitional?
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah.
And the first one I brought up was Australopithecines, which I could have brought up numerous other ones: Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis, Denisovans, Neanderthals, even. And he said, "Well, those are apes." And I'm like, "Yeah, humans are apes. What the fuck is your point? Like, you just don't understand phylogeny, I guess." But I would show him like, no, we literally have found transitional fossils. We found them in humans. We found them in horses. We found them in whales. We found them in. I don't know if there's a species out there where we haven't found them. You just don't know what you're talking about. And he would say, no, you're wrong, and just repeat the same thing over again. He did that numerous times.
Well, imagine when you have a written debate, like I said, the way that science works, when you have a written debate. I mean, you'd be able to show your citations, and his answer is, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just given the citation, and he can't give a citation unless it's a quote mine. He can't even quote the entire paragraph. He'll do like everybody else says. We'll say, even Darwin admitted that just looking at the eye would disprove his theory. No, that's not what he fucking said.
Well,
go ahead, Rage.
Well, that's exactly, to Aron's point, that's exactly why they seek out atheists like myself, who is not scientifically minded. Matt Powell did it with me, and I walked into it naively. And I don't do evolution debates. I'm not a scientist, right? I like to talk theology. So Nephy, like when I first met Nephilim Free, he was emailing me, approaching me about an evolution debate because he saw that debate, that movie that I did with Matt Powell. And I learned my lesson, and I don't do evolution debates anymore, right? So Nephy tried so hard, and then finally I got into a room with Nephilim Free, and I got to turn it into a theological debate, and I got to ask him, yeah, maybe your creationism is 100% true, but explain to me how it's Yahweh and it's not Wonka Tonka, the great spirit, the spirit that created all of the universe and made everybody to walk the red road, and they just forgot how, and he could not do that. But they seek out people like me that don't know the science. So when they get into a debate with somebody like Leo, as we saw tonight, or Aron Ra, and they do know the science, well, it's just it's a brutal annihilation 99% of the time.
Exactly. I can't get over the fact that he shared sources, and I read from the one that was the Encyclopedia Britannica that proved him wrong, and he made a statement that disagreed with his worldview. I couldn't get over that, and I don't know if anybody saw my reference to the Leonardo DiCaprio memes when I was like, because I couldn't help but laugh. It's like, dude, you just refuted yourself.
Well, and what's also really interesting is that, I mean, it's just Nephilim just doesn't understand really much of anything. And to add to what Rage was saying, it gets a lot worse, because even philosophically, and this goes back to like founding church fathers in philosophy, like Aquinas and people like that.
Yep.
Even people like Aquinas kind of acknowledged the limitations of the arguments they were using, in that even if you were to accept all of the classical Christian apologetics, like the argument for motion, the cosmological argument, all these other ones. Okay, let's say I accept them, right? I don't, but let me say I do for the sake of, brevity. You wouldn't have made me a Christian. You would have made me a deist.
Yeah.
You would have caused me to believe into a God that is very vacuous in terms of the qualities it has, and in terms of like which God is actually true. And now what I'm stuck with is I'm stuck with an infinite plethora of gods or other magical creatures that are as equally unlikely to each other, and that I have no way of ascertaining which one is true from another. And so
that exact thing happened with Anthony Flew. He was duped by an intelligent design argument. I can't remember which one of the top 5 intelligent design theorists was the one that did it, but somebody confused his ass, and so he decided that he was a deist, and no longer, the famous atheist that he was supposed to be. Although, interestingly, I had never heard of him until after he'd become a deist.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, the thing is, right, like even smart people get duped.
Oh yeah.
But, it's a matter of correcting ourselves when we've acknowledged our mistake. and when we're shown to be incorrect. That really is kind of what determines, people that are scientifically honest or just honest in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like as a child putting your hand in a cookie jar and your parents catch you and, they say, "Oh, did you put your hand in the cookie jar?" "No, I didn't." "Really? Well, why do I see your hand in the cookie jar?"
What are you talking about? You're hallucinating.
Who do you think you're fooling?
No, I pay millions in tax.
Yeah.
But you said something immutable that just brought up a memory, and I'm pretty sure, because I think everybody here in the room has probably seen it. The cosmological argument, when I was in one of Rage's streams, and at times we'll try to bring that up.
Oh my God.
Right off the bat, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to fully explain why both premises are wrong, because both the first and the second, yes, that includes the first premise, are wrong. But I demonstrated that no, we know that time is tenseless. That means that the Big Bang, even if we grant that there's an absolute beginning, it's a beginning to the universe the same way the front door is the beginning of your house. Your house doesn't come into existence at the front door. The whole house already exists, and the front door is just the beginning of it. It's the same thing with the universe. And I don't want to be mean, but the guy didn't even know what a vector was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, too, is even the Kalam cosmological argument, it still suffers the same issue that the other cosmological argument suffers from.
Yeah, both of its premises are wrong.
Well, because they both commit the same error, and that is the premises rest on the idea that things which are complex must have a more complex or must have something more complex or originator. And naturally,
even if that were the case, it has been our history throughout science that everything that we used to think about, supernatural things, that epilepsy was demonic possession and all like that having diseases was witchcraft or whatever. But everything that when we found out what the real explanation was, it was always vastly more complex than the supernatural excuse.
Exactly.
God did it is the simplest and most infantile excuse you can come up with. It's not a more complex answer.
Well, it's the same as everything was created last Thursday. You cannot argue with that.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same shit now, like this created heterozygosity. They have a new theory now called Matrix Eve, where Eve had 40,000 different genomes in every egg, or a different genome in every one of her eggs.
Jesus.
And so basically I say that God screwed Eve 40,000 times.
I wonder how well the immune system will respond to that kind of lack of consistency with cells having 40,000 different types of.
I know, but they keep making shit up, and they keep. And one example here, I've got it on the screen. If you want to do some sciencey stuff for 5 seconds.
Sure.
Anyway, this okay. Neph brought up this slide.
Is somebody's audio still going?
Yeah, somebody's echoing pretty bad.
I don't think it's an echo. It's something in the background. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Anyway, let's see. So he referenced a paper by Neil Shubin about the autopodium, which is your fingers and your wrist, right? And that's a development. And they didn't think that those genes were in the fish that they developed later on. Well, they found they were looking at zebrafish, which we have studied in detail. They decided to start looking at paddlefish. I have a friend that actually works on paddlefish. Anyway, they found these genes in paddlefish, and they found development of these, of the wrist and the fingers in paddlefish. And then Neph goes ahead and states 2 or 3 lies here, and he blew that out. And everything in his opening is like this. And I just use this as an example because he says it does not exist in the paddlefish, but not in the zebrafish, which supposedly evolved later. Well, they're 2 different branches, and it was in the paddlefish, and they discovered it, and they didn't know about it before, and that's all the paper says. Then, of course, he says to protect the evolutionary theory, the authors assume that the genetic tools evolved a second time. That's a fucking lie. That's not in that paper. There's nothing like that. But anyway, he goes ahead and he shows the paper real fast. It sounds good. He says the right words, and then he lies 4 times and he moves on. He did that in every goddamn piece of his presentation.
Oh, exactly. And did anybody else notice that another thing that he did is when I was bringing up transitional species, he was talking about, well, they've got, you know, all these different features. And I'm like, well, no shit. I'm not saying they're the same thing. They're a transition. Some of the
features you got there
are the same. Some are going to be similar. Some are going to be different. Duh.
What you got there is the same situation that you have with the Quran, where it says if you don't believe the Quran, then write another book like it, right? Well, if you write another book that's better than the Quran, then it's not like the Quran because it has differences. But if you write exactly the Quran, well, then you've just copied the Quran, and that's why it's not possible to write a book that's different than the Quran and be like the Quran. You can never meet that challenge.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I think you've mentioned before, Aron, like the Bible that we commonly refer to as the Bible isn't actually the real Bible, because the Bible itself mentions books that in church history have been removed from the Bible.
Like the apocryphal Gospels?
Yes, exactly.
Well, a lot worse than that. There's at least a couple of dozen books.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of books that were pretty much burned right around the time they burned like the Greek schools of philosophy.
A hypothesis on what the purpose of the Council of Nicaea was to exclude everything that depicted Jesus as being a human and only include the things that would have depicted him as being somehow divine. That was the purpose of the Council of Nicaea, because the purpose was to develop a religion that they could use to control people, because Constantine needed a way to unite the Roman Empire, and he did that through religion.
To move back to Michael's point, I actually like one thing better than that, and that is, I think it was in Logical Plausible Probable stream.
Implausible Improbable.
It was in LPC's stream. But what had happened was Maddox consistently claimed...
We call them the Mad Ducks, Immutable.
The Mad Ducks has claimed the ribosome, which is essentially... It's a molecular machine that's responsible for making sure proteins get formed properly. He had claimed that that's impossible for it to have evolved. And I know this because he had a source that he had essentially cherry-picked that had claimed that the evolution of the ribosome is very difficult. Well, no shit it is. But if you read the paper, it actually, it's a paper on abiogenesis, by the way, but it's a paper that makes a very strong case that the evolution in the ribosome and the assembly of the genetic code occurred simultaneously with each other, and that they're not events that are divorceable from one another. And they gave an estimate as to when this would have occurred. And surprise, surprise, when I mentioned this to Maddox, or the Mad Ducks, he said, oh, well, you're not reading the paper. Really? Because I can point exactly where the paper it says that. Because according to this paper, the claim you made is just factually incorrect. And that's what all creationists do. They look for portions of their paper which, support their view, even though it doesn't really.
Yeah, I literally, Immutable, I literally have and I actually conceded to Speed that his name, the Mad Ox, is better than my name, the Mad Ducks. But I have John Maddox on stream admitting that he just ignores the conclusions of the papers he uses, cherry picks certain sentences out of those papers, and then forms his own conclusion to fit his narrative. I have him on stream admitting that.
It is a thing that he had with Brenda and Amy Newman, and he was with, I believe it was Praise, and I don't even remember if they were talking. I think it was just a general, does God exist? But they started to go down quantum mechanics because Praise and John think that they understand quantum mechanics, and neither of them even knows what the fuck a function is. He mentioned something about quantum tunneling and respiration. So immediately when I heard that, I went to Google, and he got everything that he said completely motherfucking wrong.
Hey, guess who's here? It's Otangelo. It's Jello. He's here.
Or otherwise known as that Martian guy on Looney Tunes.
I got to tell you, I had a debate on radio with a guy named Pastor Bob Enyart, in which he brought up, this is live conversation, like a lot of these debates are. The creationists love the live debates, because then they can cite all these studies and then challenge you you haven't read that study that says this, that says that they found blood in dinosaur fossils, for example, that they found all these other things, and they can just name the study, and they have the name of the study. They've got the names of the scientists involved, and of course, you don't know of any study that has anything like that. So this guy lists off 7 things that were supposedly discovered by science, and he has the peer-reviewed papers, and I can't even address any of them. So I can't give him the benefit of the doubt when all there is doubt. So I have to tell him, okay, I've got him to agree to do a written debate after the live debate, and I think I did pretty well in the live debate. But I still managed to get him to agree on radio in front of all of his followers that he would be in a written debate with me, so that we could fact check the things that he had claimed. So then, of course, I get a hold of all of the papers that he cited, that he recited in the written debate, thinking I would not read them. But it's a written debate now. Of course I'm going to read them. And I found out that none of his studies, none of them, said what he said they did. Exactly. So I had to write the correction. No, that's not what it says. It actually says this.
Yep.
Which is another reason you guys should be debating.
You see this? You see that?
Well, by the way, Rage,
weeks.
I can do you one better, Rage, and that is I think it was on LPP's channel, but when me and because I talked with Maddox one-on-one about his whole abiogenesis crap and go into detail about how proteins fold and yada 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 yada. Because
real quick, just for Aron, if you don't know who we're talking about, this is the same John Maddox that created a GoFundMe because he was going to debate Matt Dillahunty.
And he wanted people to watching atheist
$200 a day while he took off work to prepare for Matt.
Hashtag John Maddox.
Wow.
That's the same person. But like I was saying, when me and him talked, he had essentially said, and I think he even said this directly, that he doesn't care about like the minutia within the arguments,
right?
Because it takes away from the conclusion he's trying to reach.
The devil is in the details.
Yeah.
So I got into another debate with a guy named Bob Dutko, again on the radio, and I got him to announce on radio what was his best example to prove dinosaurs living alongside people. What was the one thing that that his listeners could go look up and verify that this is really true? The one thing that he would plant his whole reputation on. And the thing he came up with was that there was these swords that were found in North America that were buried in an archaeological site, and that they had dinosaurs carved into the blades.
Oh wow!
I'm like, well, that's fantastic. And he said, this was done, it was excavated in like 1931, and it had like Hebrew writing and everything. And so this proved not only that dinosaurs lived alongside people, but that Jews were in the New World when the dinosaurs were here. So pre-Columbian Jews, which I guess maybe he was Mormon. I don't know. But the funny thing is, I go to look that up, right? And it turns out that this is a well-known hoax. There were swords that were found in an archaeological dig. Somebody had gone to an archaeological dig where it's already dug and put the swords there and covered them over.
I read that.
This is not
that's funny.
You can tell that they were put there yesterday. Okay,
notice my picture right now. This was Matt Powell's evidence that pterodactyls lived with man because Civil War soldiers shot one down. This was his evidence. It's a doctored picture, obviously.
Well, Matt Powell's a different animal because he knows that absolutely everything he says is a lie. But he just doesn't give it.
He is the most disingenuous, lying person I have ever met until we got the current president of the United States.
With some people, you could still blame stupidity. It's possible that Nephilim Free just has a severe mental problem, but with Matt Powell, no.
Yeah,
he's just deliberately dishonest.
Well, and I think you can say that as well.
You nailed it. Yes.
And
Aron, did you debate Eric Hernandez?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
You did a very good job.
Oh, he's
my God.
somebody I really want to tear into.
Yeah, so do I. I want to debate Michael Jones from Inspiring Philosophy on consciousness or quantum mechanics, because there's a lot of stuff that he gets, especially quantum mechanics, because he, like Maddox and Praise and all these other idiots, think that consciousness collapses the wave function. And I just want to ask him just one question: what is a Hermitian operator?
Yeah.
Or what is a Hilbert space?
Yeah, there's no. His stuff is.
I doubt he knows what they are.
Well, half the stuff you rattle off, I don't know what they are. So feel sorry for him.
I want to respond to Stupid Horror Energy's comment. Matt Powell has rosy cheeks every time he thinks of me naughty.
Yeah, I was going to do a whole series on that ginger twink, but then I decided not to, because he was just looking for attention.
Yeah,
I do wonder as well, and I'm very certain that Ken Hovind knows he's lying. Like when he's
Ken Hovind absolutely knows that he's lying.
Yeah, giving these speeches to his cult compound.
Yeah, but look at the life that he's living. He has no skills. He has no ability to follow any orders. He has a malignant narcissistic disorder. So what he does is he runs a slave camp where he has all of these people who essentially worship him, who work for him for free to build his retirement home so that he doesn't have to work for a living. And he admitted that on video, that the reason he's doing this is so that he doesn't have to get a real job.
Wow.
Well, and the thing is, right, to me, like, and thank you for mentioning that, because that just proves to me that Ken Hovind is in fact like just truly a narcissist.
Oh, definitely.
Because his son, as much as I don't like Eric Hovind and, the stuff he produces, he is a million times more honest and, more charitable than Ken Hovind is. And
Eric Hovind is also dishonest. I won't say equally dishonest with Kent Hovind, but he is dishonest. I mean, he admitted at one point in a confrontation with me that he needs atheists and we need him because he thinks that we're both in the same business, and we're both two sides of the same coin, that we're both doing apologetics. So we're not.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think it's, as much as an upgrade that Eric Hovind got from Kent Hovind, it's almost like impossible for Eric Hovind not to have absorbed some of his father's philosophies.
Yeah, and then he went worse with it because he went presuppositionalism.
Oh my fucking God! Have you ever talked with Darth Dawkins, Aron? Welcome, Erica.
And then he went worse with it because he went presuppositionalism.
Have you ever talked with Darth Dawkins?
Erica, you are echoing like crazy.
Don't say it anymore. It's got to catch up. It's got to catch up.
What's happening?
Erica needs to mute her YouTube screen.
She's
Erica,
also
I
behind.
think you're double playing.
I'm sorry, this is hilarious.
Hello, Erica. Good to see you again.
Can you hear us,
That
Erica?
was me.
Okay, so
Everyone was just talking at the same time. It just, I had you.
I want to ask this question again. I don't think you have, but maybe you have. Have you ever had a discussion with Darth Dawkins, Aron?
I've seen the name a bunch of times. I don't take him seriously. He's somebody that doesn't deserve attention, just like Nephilim Free doesn't deserve attention. I mean, talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Oh my God.
If anybody's ever going to debate Nephilim Free again, it should be in a written debate.
Yeah,
and I have a format for that. If anybody wants to go to League of Reason.
Well, and standing for truth,
do exactly what I did. That's the only reason I agree to it. It's to do exactly what I did and embarrass him, because I got to be honest, I think I did.
Yeah,
that's standing.
Embarrass him
go
because
ahead,
he doesn't
Aron.
know how to be.
True, very true.
Well, I was gonna say, like, SFT's whole shtick is to like come in and put out about 25 different studies that he doesn't give his interlocutor time to study, right? So, and he's been called on it several times. Like, why don't you just citate your sources, give it to your interlocutor, and allow your interlocutor to give their sources back to you? He refuses to do it because he wants to catch you with so many studies all at once, so you cannot possibly go against what he's saying. In that hour debate.
I could write a thesis on standing for truth. I could write a thesis on standing for truth's methodology when it comes to his arguments. And the thing is as someone who on multiple different occasions has sat down and taken 6 to 7 hours of my life consuming that content and then tracking down every single source of his, most of which come from some hot garbage secondary creationist source like Contested Bones or Replacing Darwin or
Journal of Creationism, which I like in my debate when Nephilim screen shared in the in the open dialogue, he brought up something that it said what was it, like a Christian apologetics something there, and I'm just like, yeah, that's a really reliable source. And half the shit that was listed, I only quoted one, but there were other ones that I read. Most of them didn't even agree with him.
Well, I want to say real quick, Erica, you have patience. People say I have patience. No, you have patience.
My patience grows thinner every interaction I have. I swear to God. My most recent issue was I'm drumming up a couple of responses to standing, and then I'm going to kind of probably cut that tie until I start getting some answers to some lists of questions that I've provided. Yeah, I'm from Australopithecus, right? Yeah, thanks. That's a Nephy classic, along with the tibula, which is of course found only in Australopithecines. Anyways, in a source,
how we said it in the debate. I said you said we haven't found transitional fossils, so we haven't found Australopithecines, and he's like, oh well, the Australopithecines are apes, and I'm just like, humans are apes, and then he rambled on about how they've got different features.
No, they can't. They ingest such intense amounts of copium just to deal with the fact that they're apes. I cannot fathom why that is such a difficult thing for them to grasp, because creation.com will admit they'll go as far as primate, but AIG, ICR, those guys really aren't into it. But yeah, so standing in one of his recent videos, he pulls up Christopher Roop, right? This absolute hack of an author of this book called Contested Bones, which is by John Sanford and Christopher Roop respectively, neither of which are paleontologists or paleoanthropologists, both of which are talking, spending 200 plus pages talking about human evolution. And Christopher Roop, in a presentation that's standing clipped and then put on his own channel, uses for support that Homo erectus lived with the Australopithecines. He uses, and what he's meaning is afarensis, which to my knowledge, there is not strong support that Australopithecus afarensis had.
Well, if you take Australopithecus to include Paranthropus.
Aron, that's the thing, because it's incredibly evident from Roop's presentation that he thinks the phrase robust Australopithecine just means like the same as a gracile Australopithecine. He doesn't seem to understand that the Paranthropines are a completely different group that have been known for a long ass period of time to have lived at the same time as many of the later hominins. So I can't for the life of me wrap my brain around that blunder. I mean, imagine writing a 250-page book on a topic and then like stumbling at the start like that. But
it's speaking of books, Standing for Truth does have a book.
No, he's got a couple.
He's got a new one that I don't have that he mentioned.
The thing is, I remember like seeing those books before like they were actually like publicly released, because there's a Google document that kind of like they update regularly.
This is one of them.
Yeah. By the way, it looks like Duke on a page.
Well, I want to treat you. I'm myself and Standing are on weird terms right now, and I will roast him till the end of days on his choice of font size, which is like size with non-aligned.
SFT was another one that relentlessly emailed me after my Matt Powell movie, thinking, "Hey, here's a stupid atheist that I can make look really, really stupid about evolution." And I finally brought him on my channel, and I just cussed him out. I did. I mean, it's classic.
I remember it. Well, and the thing is, too, I mean, it's not just that, but it's like the indentation isn't consistent, like the bordering for the pictures isn't consistent. And it looks like somebody just used a snippet tool and like had like too much fun, like finding these articles and like making random highlights. Because even like I'm sure, and I don't need to buy the book to know this, if you look at that book, I guarantee you like the outline of like information and stuff like that is just all over the place.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of, and my whole area is primatology, extant primates. But because of that, I of course, dabble a lot in human evolution and general paleontology paleontology stuff and paleoant stuff. And, staying up to date on that literature is like kind of my jam. So it's very shocking to me because you get involved in these conversations, and Aron and I spoke about this in a conversation that we had at one point. But if you are someone who spends a lot of your time, reading the literature and spending time around people who give a shit about the literature, you tend to accidentally give people the benefit of the doubt. And then when you engage with them, it suddenly becomes evident, and it's like an aha moment where you're like, holy shit, these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they can jargon their way to a certain point. But then all of a sudden it becomes glaringly obvious. I mean, you can do it. Genetics is a classic one. I mean, they'll scream created heterozygosity from the rooftops, but can't define what a ribose is. So it's
and you don't even have to be a scientist to come to that conclusion. You can just use your common sense and say, hey, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's true.
You heard about Matrix Eve, Erica, didn't you? Matrix Eve? Matrix Eve.
Like mitochondrial Eve?
No, like Eve. No, like their Eve had, they claim had 40,000 different genomes.
Oh yeah, so that's their most recent commonly shared 4 alleles, and there are a bunch of really weird routes you can take with that, and that particular one is this. It's no more empirical or scientific than saying that God used miracles to catastrophically shift the plates.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, they finally realized that gene conversion and recombination wasn't going to save them.
No.
So they came up with this bullshit.
You never won
this time.
How's it going, you fucking alcoholic?
But here's the thing. But here's the thing about that, right? Like, what mechanisms are there that could even get anywhere close to that?
No, they don't exist. They don't exist.
They don't freaking exist. I've studied DNA repair mechanisms like at a basic level, and I can tell you that's not the way that works.
The creationist top brass are on this 24/7, looking for essentially gaps in genetic knowledge to shove these potential created heterozygosity or like crazy insane mutation rates or whatever into. And every month that any kind of scientific journal is in operation, that becomes more and more difficult for them because more and more papers come out that are like, nope, we know the mutation rate. Nope, it's still really solidly understood. It's not this crazy ass hyper fast mutation rate that Nathaniel Jeanson and the ilk put forward. Tompkins is still up a creek without a paddle on his comparison of human to chimp DNA. Human chromosome 2 is still a fusion. And the weird thing is Tompkins' work actually like inadvertently helped make that even clearer, which is very funny to me. And the Y chromosome stuff that Jeanson's putting out is batshit crazy. If you take the time to like sit down and look at all that, it blows my mind. I'm getting jaded. I don't know if it's evident, but I grow more and more jaded every time I spend time with these people.
I want to show you guys something really quick, because if Jesus really does exist, this was his reaction to Nephilim. And let me just zoom in here so you can read what it says.
Jesus laughing.
Jesus laughing.
This is Jesus to Nephilim and all the creationists.
He's not into it.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Yeah, much fun as this is, I'm going to have to bail and give somebody else space in the chat.
Well, thank you very much, Aron, for showing up on this channel. Might I remind us?
Yeah, and Leo and I are supposed to have a chat here upcoming. I don't know exactly when. I just know it can't be tomorrow, but it'll be soon.
And like I said, Aron, I'm literally free to whenever. So just pick a date and a time, and if you want to do it later, that's fine with me. Like I said, I'm up.
Later is a lot better for me generally.
Yeah. So when you say later, just so I have an idea of when to expect it, you talking like after 10 o'clock p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, and that is fine. I'm up fairly late because all of my math research gets done after like midnight. So
Leo, 10 p.m. is that whole boomer o'clock thing John was talking about earlier.
Yeah. There was a couple of times. There was a couple of times last week when I have projects to work on. I work on until they're done.
Yeah.
And so I'll go to bed at like 7 in the morning. So
I get up.
Yeah, I mean, you pushed out those. You pushed out those new videos really quickly. The one responding to the Texas preacher guy.
Yep.
I had so much fun with that. I love
That
series
was a
like
good one.
that.
That dude's
I
voice.
really enjoyed those. I mean, I'd ask you to keep producing them in that case.
I got an email from somebody in that church thanking me for that series.
Oh wow!
I love when that happens. I love when that happens. I've had that happen a couple times. I've had a couple of people from the 12 Tribes cult thank me for my coverage. I've had a couple of people from the NIFB. That is like one of the greatest feelings you can get as a content creator, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to hear from the NIFB of it like that. That'd be great.
Is it Danny a member of NIFB?
This
good night.
Yep.
Anyways,
Thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, so nice to meet Aron fucking Ra.
Oh yeah, man. Nice that
I
you showed up
with him
to our
for
stream.
30 seconds, and now I can put that on my resume.
Hey, there you go.
Right. So Erica,
I've been on Facebook and I'm like, this was on my bucket list, yo. I can die now. So
I just want to let everybody know we still have Erica here. So, not a whole lot.
Erica's on my bucket list as well. So what up, Erica?
Hey, no, listen, that's Art and I are not on par, I would say, but I do appreciate that. He's been doing this for way longer than I have.
And just recently, he passed the 250,000 subscriber mark. So,
Imagine.
I love
That's like a small city.
I love people that put Christians and YEC in their place. So yeah, I am like bowing down.
Listen, it's a lot easier when it's, I'm fortunate in that my background being somewhat tangentially related to human evolution. That's like a big linchpin issue for creationists. So it makes it pretty easy when I'm just like, hey, I this is what I look at, this is what I study. You're wrong.
Yeah. When Christians go theology with me as a Southern Baptist that grew up as a Southern Baptist my whole life, oh, please do that. Yeah, just please.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. The thing is, too, I mean, Speech Channel is growing. Slowly. I mean, we're at almost like 150 subscribers now.
Yeah, tonight you might be catching up to me.
I gotta ask a quick question because Speed said that Erica twittered about me. Did you make a tweet? Because I don't see one.
Yeah, you twittered. Well, did you private message me? You told me to tell Leo he did a good job.
Yeah, I did.
Leo, you totally crushed Nephilim free. You're like famous now.
Yeah.
So.
And I love how 3 minutes, like less than 5 minutes into the open discussion, James is like, okay, this is starting off hot. And I was like, well, yeah, because if I don't interject, Nephilim will ramble for 30 fucking minutes.
No, dude, the biggie for me was when the ability to, when he would spout off, these very quick quote mines or very quick authority, references or whatever, you were ready for those, you were capable of being like, okay, first of all, you're grossly misrepresenting pretty much everybody who's not a creationist on that list.
Shit, Rainbow was here and he's gone.
Yeah, when he brought up Colin Patterson, and I brought the quote out where Colin Patterson says, "No, you're fucking misinterpreting my words." He tried to say, "Well, no, he just says," and I'm just like, I wanted to say, so are you telling me that the guy is wrong on the very thing that the same guy said? Like, what the fuck?
So,
hey, BB,
welcome, Brainbug.
Hey.
So the way you respond to that, Leo, is instead of going that route, you say, oh, so Colin Patterson's position better than Colin Patterson does. That's good. I'll be sure to tell him that.
Yeah.
Like praise knows Hebrew.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck! I can't.
I just want to make one comment.
Now that I got you in public, Erica, Standing for Truth has recently pissed me off pretty thoroughly, and I pissed him off pretty thoroughly, and I'm going to turn all of my attention to him. And I think, and you and I mesh together as far as what we know, because I don't know shit about Homo sapiens or basically human paleontology. You do, and I know the genetic stuff, so we should work together.
Oh, we absolutely. You'll be pleased to know too. I heard some whisperings that they're planning on covering the fish to tetrapod transition as well.
Oh my God!
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun one. The thing is like, so the deal with standing too is like, golly, they can put out so much content so fast, and the content has not that much substance.
But isn't that the nature of misinformation, is that you can put so much of it out there so quickly because you can just say whatever the fuck you want, and the people that aren't ever going to fact check anything you say because they only care about gobbling up the bullshit you're putting out there are just going to believe it, and the people who actually want to go through and refute this have to spend all this time going through each and every little individual claim, and at the end of the day you're just like, oh my god, I've only made it 5 minutes into the video and I've got like 300 fucking pages of what you're wrong.
No, I know. Oh, and RJ, first of all, Stupid War Energy, thank you very much. I'm very glad that you do like what I do. That's literally what makes it worth it. But yeah, RJ and I were talking at one point, and he was like, yeah, the thing about creationists is like they'll literally say a sentence, and you have to dissect that sentence and do 1 to 2 hours of research for the 3 claims that are made in a single sentence, because they don't take things for granted, right? Like they can't just accept, right, that consensus says X, and therefore, well, that's probably a reasonable stance to take. You've got to
Don't
like
tell Smokey that.
Well, let me take it one step further, right? So I would wager so far to say is that when creationists make their claims, at least these internet creationists, they don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's common.
That was Nephilim. Like he's going off about allele frequencies. He says, well, yeah, well, that's just, where some things can be expressed more, some things can be expressed less. But that's not like he was pretty much trying to argue that the change in allele frequency means that there's whole ass new genes just kind of popping into existence out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude,
so
that's what it says.
So I sort of you exposed me online, Leo. Thanks for that, by the way. But yeah, so I would like to say that the main rule was, when you read my email? Yeah, I was listening, Leo.
Hey,
but I was just going to say the main rule was just drink whenever he says something dumb, and his whole opening slide about how change in allele frequency is an evolution just made me fucking finish my can.
Yeah,
dude, I was screaming in the chat when he was like, yeah, Australopithecus displays features. And I'm like, you mean the big-brained biped tool-using Australopithecus? Like, what is exactly the point here, Neph?
It was just, my God, it was this, and Stupid Whore Energy. She made a comment in the chat, and she said, take a drink every time Nephilim whistles. And I'm like, look, he's 10 minutes into his 12-minute opening. I would be through both 12-ounce Budweisers that I have. And I made
if I had seen that, I would have been dead.
I made the comment in the side chat, like every time he whistles, the way it goes whip, like that, it sounds like a smoke alarm that's beeping because the batteries are dying. And another thing is that Sal Cordova in the chat's like, so who's this Leo guy? Does he have any degrees in biology? And I commented swiftly. I was like, no, I don't, but neither do you, Sal. And he's like, oh, well, I work with that. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have a degree. You're coming at me for not having a degree in biology, and neither do fucking you.
Yeah,
Nova. So Sal is a really interesting case.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
We talked, like me and him and Speed have talked like several times. And he has admitted, so like he originally has like a physics background, like aerospace or some weird shit like that.
Applied physics. He's got a master's in applied physics, and I think he's pursuing a PhD in something that's related to physics.
But so here's the thing that caught me for a loop, and I almost like died at this. He said that he's taken biochemistry, and I was thinking like, oh, okay, so this might actually be a person that I can have an intelligible conversation with.
Yeah.
And he then said, I didn't really understand much of it because I didn't understand what organic functional groups were. And I was like, that's kind of weird.
What?
Like, did you take organic chemistry before you like took biochemistry? Because normally like it's a prereq for it. Oh no, I just asked the advisor if I could, and they said I could. I was like,
oh wow.
Then you really don't understand biochemistry, because biochemistry is the study of like how organisms like transform these things like by means of organic reactions.
Yeah.
So the long and short of Sanford, of Dr. John Sanford, the plant geneticist's work is, and all you need to know about the entire subject, anybody coming in from, as kind of a new person on the scene to who Sanford is and what he's about, the only way that he gets his genetic entropy deal off the ground is by literally redefining fitness.
Yeah,
which is a definition that's been in effect for over 100 years.
And
so,
I just uploaded a thing on kicking Sal Cordova's ass on that.
You did, and dude, I got to be honest, Speed, you just wrecked it, because Speed would say something and Sal would just be like, there'd be a pause, and he'd be like, well, like he didn't know what to say, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yep. And he even admitted that Sanford put him up to that redefinition, because Sanford said, if you define the terms, you win the debate. That's all they give is a debate, right? So, but I mean, his bullshit on fitness, and he's back again, and he's doing it again.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have to kick his ass again. So.
I remember the first time I talked to him, I said I said something about like a sterile Superman. He was like, that's interesting. That's something I've never thought about. And then I guess he didn't think about it afterwards either, because he's mentioning the same stuff again.
The situation with Sal is very weird, because so as a person I like Sal, but Sal is capable of putting up one of the strongest mental walls that I've ever seen in my life. He used to do it on the subreddit, on the Debate Evolution subreddit. He got, there was blowing up at the subreddit. He made his own subreddit, Creation Evolution, and then when people actually came to it, mostly myself and a user called Witchdoc, to be like, hey, this is dumb, he would be, he banned Witchdoc off the sub. He was just like, you can't hang out here anymore.
What they do. Like if you, I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you're ever interested, go to Smokey Saint's channel. He posted it. It's
oh God, why?
What was it called? Rage something, your challenge, or your challenge, your something. I'd have to go to his channel to find it again. But you'll notice that Smokey always says that he doesn't kick people, he doesn't mute people, and all this stuff. And I got to give it to the guy. Generally, he doesn't. He really doesn't. He's not about backstage.
He mutes me, Leo. He mutes me when it's convenient for him to do so. And he's done that consistently. It was called through our exchange.
It's called
sexist piece of shit.
I put him on probation. Stinky Snake. That's what I call him. I put him on probation, and he came off probation. Within 3 minutes, I banned him permanently because he had nothing to say. He was trash talking immediately. So I just
if nobody has seen it, today I showed my conversation with the fascists, Smokey Saint, Brett Keane, Will Kincaid, and all of those fascists. And I actually have a video now to where I break down the definition of fascism line by line and show Trump being a fascist. So that will be on my channel tomorrow.
And the video is called Smokey's Friday Night Live, You Laugh, You Lose Challenge. So, Erica, if you are interested, go to about the 1 hour, 38-minute mark and just watch the next half hour. He puts me backstage like three times.
Leo.
I kept correcting them. Because, well, number one, I corrected Smokey because he didn't know what the fuck a consensus was. He just wants to argue that it's a bunch of people with letters after their name. And
Leo,
I meant they wanted to go on about cosmology, and they didn't know shit about cosmology. Then Sunflower wanted to come in and act like he knows anything about fucking anything when he doesn't know dick about fuck all.
Leo, I forgot to tell you. I forgot to tell you, my dude. So tomorrow, Apostate Alliance is not happening. Our guest did not show up for our pre-recording. So tomorrow at noon, I want you to come on with me and John, and we are going to review what you were just talking about.
All right,
all of that stuff with you and Smokey and Brenda.
Oh, I love it.
We're gonna review it.
This would be noon Eastern, correct?
Yes, noon.
Okay, I gotta set an alarm for. I'm gonna set an alarm for 10 because that'd be 11 my time. I'm gonna set an alarm for 10:30 just to make sure.
I want you there. You, me, and John Peterson. We're gonna look at exactly what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, because it's.
Imagine thinking that consensus is completely worthless, right? Like, imagine actually holding that opinion. Just live in the woods then.
Yeah.
Imagine thinking all women are better yet. Imagine thinking all women are whores, because that's evidently what he believes.
You know what the funny thing about that is?
No, yeah, Smokey's such a sexist.
Smokey always goes off about being alpha male and this stuff, but when an attractive woman has her tits hanging half out her shirt, he's all like, "Oh my god, that's so disgusting."
It wasn't even hanging out.
They weren't even hanging out. She just had a low cut blouse.
Talking about being an alpha male, yet you're not even appreciating the little bit of cleavage you can get. Like, what the fuck, dude?
He's so awful. Smokey's so terrible.
Yeah, that
Walker
ain't it.
just linked this, and I just had to put it up.
It's just the video of Nephilim free eating paper. I thought it was
I do
important.
love this one.
okay,
This is a
okay.
classic.
Yeah, I would like to thank
play it,
Colton
play it.
for this video.
This one's a classic.
There's actually quite a bit of videos out there. They're kind of scattered though; they haven't been organized. We're kind of like Nephilim free, just kind of like has a little like mental breakdown.
Look at those headphones. They're not even touching the top of his head.
Yeah, this is a big classic right here.
This is important, guys.
You know, I always assumed just by listening to
Oh my
Nephy
God,
that he was like 85 years old.
I know, right? Like on the beginning of Standard Truth.
Oh man,
Yeah, me and Colton and Dakota were in a call, and we were just saying that like Neff pre-gamed for this debate by just eating the papers and hoping he absorbed the knowledge from them.
I mean, you know what that's like? It's like that one video on. I don't know if you guys have seen it. And you're gonna have to look closely at my camera here. But the guy, it's a little Asian kid, and you know what? You should stop screen sharing just so I can do this so that everybody can see me because it's fucking hilarious. So he's got the book and he goes. And then he turns the page and he goes like this again, and he's doing this. I feel like that's what these creationists do. Let me open up this book and just absorb this knowledge. You turn the page, we'll absorb this knowledge.
I don't know. That's the thing that really kind of makes me mad is that it's like I know everybody else here does the same. It's like you take the time to watch their content, dissect it in its minutia, and then address every single point. Then you offer some criticism and maybe some counter questions. Yeah. And then you get a 6-hour stream response that answers none of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Erica, they're fucking obsessed with you.
How can they stream for hours on end and have no fucking substance?
The thing
SFT said Dr. Dan tapped out recently or something. It's probably
he didn't tap out. SFT blocked him.
Yeah, SFT blocked him on 2 accounts.
Oh man, wow. I had an exchange with him today about him not providing his sources because he did that stream on you and me, and I think it was on you and me, right? Catalyst Engineer, and he didn't provide any fucking sources at all. And
it has been a cycle on YouTube. So when atheists first came out on YouTube, they destroyed Christianity. And then there was this like vacuum, and now we are winning the battle again, and they are scrambling to try to perk up their defenses, and that's what we're observing right now.
Yeah, that was a weird pause where everyone went to like alt-right shit. It was very strange.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Say something. Let's let him chime in here.
Oh no, I was just saying the reason that things have kind of shifted is because we got people that are like you two, like Erica and Leo, they're just engaging and not not being angry and in your face about it. Just lay it down how it is. That's
and that's why you got a brain bug. That's why you got me, the rage. I'm angry for everybody.
I'm angry too.
I'll admit I interjected Nephilim.
Thank you. I'll let you be my mouth.
But that's because I don't suffer fools. And dude, if I don't interject, you're just gonna ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble, and I'm never gonna get a fucking chance to talk.
No, listen. The thing is, and I said this in the side chat. I was like, I think people can sometimes take interjections or like passion and incorrectly assign them to being emotional. And I don't think that that's right, because if I could redo my debate with Nephilim Free, I would be way more aggressive than I was, because you're right. That's what he does. If you let him speak, like in a normal conversation, we would speak and I would pause and then you would speak and then you would pause and I would go. Yep. He doesn't understand the natural give and take of a conversation.
Exactly.
So if you don't interrupt him, he's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Would you be as nice to Maddox now as the first time you debated him? Or
John Maddox.
Yeah.
He was rude to you. Nothing, because he hasn't been around ever since his debate with Matt. Hey,
I'm sorry. Real quick, my friend John Anthony in the chat is triggering me. No, John Anthony, you are not the angry one. I am rage. Go and look at all of my 1,000 videos now, my dude.
But speaking of nice,
oh, there you go, Erica. You're being challenged by Ian Chad.
I know.
I got
you have no idea how high I can fly, Ian.
Speaking about being nice in Erica, right? I remember Erica's first debate with Standing for Truth, and I asked about 3 super chats. I was like, Erica, how can you debate someone that's so delusional? And she was like, well, he isn't that delusional.
Yeah,
he
he's a
really
nice
believes
guy.
what he's a nice guy. And I asked another question. I say, how is it that someone's arguing the wrong thing, not delusional? And she was like, well, he puts in a lot of passion in his work and he loves it. At the end of it,
giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I did want to
go
mention
back in
really
time myself.
yeah, I was like, well, Erica, you should be a politician at the end of it.
I remember that super chat now. I remember that, and I was like, oh God, politics. Put me up there. I'll scan this entire country, and then institute the evolutionist regime.
I love it because that's how Nephilim says it, evolution. But I wanted to just say for Ian Chen, I like how his one and only super chat was #Stan Amelia Clark.
James
was like, who is that?
Dude, that fucking killed me.
When he's like, who is that in my head? This is what I did. I'm just like, oh my God. Don't get me started because the rest of this debate will just be me talking about how fucking phenomenal she is as a human being.
Yeah. Erica get almost pushed to the edge. Watch her when she had Nathan Thompson on there. He really pushed her patience. It was
listen.
Erica's been getting sassier though. So.
Listen, when I debated John Maddox, I got really mad too, and I was like, at one point in the beginning, I was like, all right, we're not going to have a conversation if you're going to condescend to me. Right. We're just not going to do it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth anybody's time. So knock that shit off. It's so. God, I imagine getting into a conversation with someone and just being an ass for no reason. That's what John Maddox did in that debate.
Yeah. There's a reason that John does that, and that's because John has been the unsuccessful owner of 3 kind of startup businesses that have failed miserably. And he considers himself alpha because he's the CEO of those companies that have failed.
He's the alpha.
I think I honestly believe John Maddox lives in the basement of his sister's house.
At one point he did because he had major surgery to correct a medical problem he was having.
I actually tried to get him to come on and talk to me about that because he has a video on his page that's kind of insightful as to why he's kind of going the direction he is with his work and stuff. And I was like, why don't you come on to this channel and we'll just talk and let people see you as a human? No, he didn't want that. He said, no, you come on my channel and I'll badger you about evolution. Or something along those lines, but
that's all he wants to do.
So I'm sorry.
Arguments.
I'm sorry. My conversation with John Maddox is the best conversation ever because all we do is be disrespectful towards each other the entire time.
It was great.
The thing is,
alphaing the alpha.
I had the pleasure of I caught John Maddox in a super chat, and there were a couple of other people in the super chat, and they were like, you Standing for Truth had said something about me, and they were like, Erica's nice though, she's at least civil or polite or whatever. It is the classic light gaslighting, I guess. And then John Maddox was like, I don't trust Erica. She's a Medusa, snake in the grass. And I was like, okay.
I didn't hear that one.
You are totally a Medusa, the most evil person in the history of the world.
Yeah,
but the funny thing is,
in the background
if you look at actual Greek mythology, Medusa really wasn't evil. If you look at her entire backstory and what she really was and what she really stood for, Medusa wasn't an evil character.
This paradigm is actually very thin snakes, so they're just trying
Leo, you're trying to steal my heart right now. Stop it.
Oh man, yeah, the entire.
Fuck, who is it? God damn it. No, it was oh my God, who's the one that was there?
Start a fundraiser.
No. I was in an after show or a stream with somebody. I think it was with Jefferson Spatchcock, I think. And I was talking about how I was going to be debating Neph, and I accidentally said I'm dating Neph. And no, it was Mr. Parker. He's got that saved. And so the joke now is that I'm dating Neph. So I'm unfortunately, Rage, I'm already taken. And Amelia Clark, baby, I'm sorry, but Neph's got me. I don't know what to say.
Hey, Leo, if you ever want, you and me and Kent and Neph can go on like a trip together.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. And it's quite okay, Leo, because according to Smokey Saint, John Peterson is my bottom bitch.
We're all going to the ark, aren't we? When the
once this whole
I'd be
damn
down.
coronavirus stops being a thing.
Not too far away from me.
I was going to mention that Scott Summers. Yeah, when I just peeked in about 5 minutes ago into SFT's stream, and he's going on about when I chimed in and I click unmute. It was I'm not the one that was pushing that redefinition. Sal was talking like his ears must have been itching.
Yeah. So hi, Scott. It's a pleasure to see you. I see Scott around sometimes. Scott is he likes to throw jabs my way, but that's okay, Scott. I don't get my feelings hurt very easily. Yes. So. What essentially Sal Cordova and John Sanford are doing is they're redefining fitness. Now, if you want, you can try to make the argument that the definition should be redefined. But the fact of the matter is, currently at present, their argument doesn't work with the standard definition for fitness, which is why they're trying to change it. So that's the whole point. That's the whole reason. There's no refuting that. That's what's happening. I mean, you can ask Sal or John Sanford themselves. We were just having that conversation. This is something that they copped to. So, maybe Sandy needs to reach out to John himself. We'll see.
By the way, Speed, I don't know if I already mentioned this. Maybe I did. If I did, I apologize. But James said that he is very much open to a team debate with us. But he says he said that is consciousness physical. He said that's not a bad topic, but he wants to go just a little bit more broad to like is there an immaterial soul or something along those lines? And he said you guys already got it. He said you guys already have a topic picked out. You've already got pretty much everybody lined up. So he said it'll probably happen. He said just stay in touch with me. So we need to get a hold of Praise and see if there's somebody that he wants to pick to do it. I hope to fucking God it's Maddox.
He picks Maddox.
And I hope we do debate the soul because they're going to try to go down that quantum mechanics route. And
what happened? Didn't
I'm going to get a fucking chub when they do that. I'm sorry.
Is he still a friend in the creationist community?
No, he's divorced from them.
Oh, wait, you said Praise. Never mind. Maybe.
Maddox is scared shitless of me. He doesn't know what to do with me because I won't follow his dialogue. So he has not talked to me since our one debate.
Yep.
That's a really odd case. He's weird. I think he's really embarrassed right now. I think that's
yeah.
The
John Maddox for him, but then I watched one of his fucking cocky looks. And I said, fuck you, John.
John Maddox right now wants to debate John Peterson because he thinks he'll get an upper hand in a scientific debate with John Maddox. But John Maddox doesn't want to have anything to do with me when it comes to either the theology that he believes in as a Christian or when it comes to his politics as a Trump supporter. John Maddox is a fucking coward. Straight up.
Oh, yeah. If I challenged him to a debate, he would say no. Just like if I want to debate Smokey Saint on naturalism versus theism, but I know he'd never agree to it. Because I don't think Smokey's a stupid person. I really don't. I think he's a fairly intelligent individual, but he's got this not persecution complex.
He's an asshole.
He's got this superiority complex.
Yeah.
He thinks he's better than everybody else, and that's his problem. He's just got the superiority complex, but he's not a stupid person. But when it comes to science stuff, that's why you don't hear him talk that very often. Because I'm not going to say, like you said, he's not stupid, but he's not very well versed in the topics of science.
I tried to engage him about evolution on an open mic night on somebody else's channel, and he kind of conceded that he didn't know what he was talking about. Smokey did.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is,
I do respect that.
What is really interesting about him is that I thought like Smokey did best like when he first came into this community a few months ago, because he was actually like polite. He would be willing to have one-on-one conversations and didn't seem like a fucking asshole. But
I can kind of attest to what you're talking about, Immutable, because when I came into the side chat, you thought like Smokey was polite, and I was like trying to tell you like, no, this is a douchebag, dude.
Yeah. And when I first met him, I thought he was all right too.
Well, and the thing is, and I think this is true for like a lot of the people in this community, right? I don't think a lot of the people here are stupid. I think a lot of what is like the issue, except for Maddox, I genuinely think Maddox is kind of has mental issues. But
one word, raw mat.
Yeah, but I think like with Smokey's case, the reason like he's become such a toxic, like and vitriolic like person is the fact that he has situated himself in a community and had like such a vague cause against atheism that the community he is in will never go against him. Like, they will never speak ill about him. They will continue to support what he does because he professes the title of Christianity.
Yep.
And that makes it so that he can do whatever he wants to. He can expose more of his personality to those people and never be called out on it. Because these people don't have a spine.
Exactly. Smokey is a coward. Last night proved it. Rage can testify to that till he's blue in the face.
And what's amazing about Smokey, like the cherry on the cake, is that like me and him have talked about chemistry like once or twice now, and it's like, okay, well, if you want to talk about this, well, let's go into the chemistry, right, on ABio. I'm happy to, because that's
right.
Yeah.
So
I just gotta. Okay, go. No, go on.
I have recently learned something significantly important about Smokey Saint. If you want to understand Smokey Saint, you have to understand Brett Keane.
Yeah,
Brett Keane inspired him to go on YouTube. He learned from Brett Keane. Trust me, I am just learning this, and it makes so much sense.
Wait.
I have crushed. I have destroyed Smokey Saint. I have destroyed him on my channel.
Wait,
and now I know the root. The fun is just starting. I promise you. I promise you.
Wait, so did this come out on Brett Keane's side or on Smokey's side?
This came from both of them. So I have it recently. Me and Leo will actually probably be covering it tomorrow, where both of them are talking about it.
Yeah.
But I got it from Brett Keane first, and then I confirmed it with Brett Keane and Smokey Saint on a Smokey Saint stream when Leo was in the fucking stream. So yes, this is happening tomorrow at noon on my channel.
There's a couple things I want to say. Number one is I feel sorry for the sap who tries to debate immutable destiny on biochemistry. I feel really fucking sorry for you because good fucking luck. Also,
that's how I felt for Angelo whenever he talked to Demeter.
The thing is, Rage, did you notice how when I had made like 3 or 4 different claims when we started to go on to cosmology, and the thing is, Dr. Kenny Rhodes came in. I like that guy. I've seen him in some other stuff. You can have.
He's a good dude. He's a decent dude.
He tried to engage with me reasonably, but fucking Keane kept interrupting. He said, "Well, can you prove your claim?" And I was like, "Which one?"
Well, you can call him the manatee. You can.
Yeah, but I made like 4 different claims, and he's like, "Well, I want you to prove your claim." Which one? The one you just made. Which one? Can you prove your claim? Which one? Dude, like, like, hey, you need to. I'm like, no, dude, I'm trying to specify. He said, prove this claim. I made more than one. Which one do you fucking want me to prove?
Yeah, they wouldn't tell you.
So let me tell you about the monster that is the manatee, right? Truth does not matter. It doesn't matter.
He's a piece of work. That's the way I would word it. That was not hard to figure out. But Dr. Kenny Rhodes did say that he wants to set up a discussion on cosmology with me and the one and only PhD astrophysicist. And I don't know if he's the one that founded it, but I know he works with Reasons to Believe, Dr. Hugh Rock. And I am God.
So for the intellectuals in the room that don't understand what we're talking about, I wallow in the mud, in the dredges with the worst of the worst. And Brett Keane is the worst of the absolute worst.
I would say G-Man is the worst of the worst.
Well, I get in the mud with G-Man too. So
G-Man,
Yay.
Dark Dawkins,
Go easy on G-Man. I had a
G-Man is a bless your heart Christian. He really is.
We'll see if anybody gets this reference. I call him G-Cat.
I love G-Cat. Love G-Cat.
Oh yeah.
That stream when he brings his cat.
Here's one of the G-Cats.
Oh my god.
The last time G-Man came on my stream, he tried to approach my pagan co-host, my co-host who's a pagan, and was like, "Let's convert the raging atheist into religion." And my pagan co-host was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
The thing is, like with G-Man, G-Man has been around like for such a long time that even he has forgotten about like certain key events in the community, because G-Man has a reputation on the internet, and especially with our community, of bringing up like certain details about his life that he shouldn't be revealing, but that inadvertently slipped because he's an emotional man-child.
I stole $10,000.
And it's one of those
cat is better than all yours.
I tried to emulate the Dragnot thing, and I'm
You
not.
don't want me holding her right now, but that's too bad.
And it's one of those things where Drag has revealed, Drag's content just comes from reviewing and commenting on G-Man's own videos.
Dragnot Silvis is one of my favorite human beings.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a stand-up dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Yeah, he's so succinct. Like I saw him talking with Smokey about something. I can't remember what it was, but he would just succinctly demonstrated it. Smokey had no.
Oh, dude.
Fucking
No,
clue.
it was my stream. It was my
Yeah, I
stream. Me,
think it was.
Dragnot, and Smokey, and Dragnot just totally broke down the art of the conversation with Smokey saying it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Yep.
you can ask Smokey about basically anything about his rationale and reasoning, for why he's deriving occlusion, and it'll be fallacious. Guarantee you. Because he doesn't understand logic, despite saying that he studied it.
Well, you remember when Smokey came in Speed of Sound side chat on that one video, and he made some comment about how Speed doesn't understand Speed doesn't understand logic, and I used actual symbols from propositional calculus and stuff like that, and I said, so Smokey, do you know what I'm saying? And I put it in there, and no response. Didn't even acknowledge that I had put it there.
So here's something that really pisses me off too, is that it's and I know everyone here is on the same page because most people in this chat actually, they kind of give a shit about being transparent. But it's if someone were to put a calculus equation on the screen, I would be I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at because that's not my field. But these guys have to all simultaneously be experts in every field in existence. They can't talk to anything being incorrect. Neph wouldn't be capable of seeing you do that and going, "Oh, I don't know what that is."
And real quick, speaking to what Erica is saying, I literally about 2.5 weeks. I cannot speak. I have COVID-19 right now. I'm sorry.
Sick boy.
Leo will attest to this. About 2.5 weeks ago, I went public with my real name, right? And then about 3 nights ago, I realized that I'm still targeted by Christian extremists who are using Google Earth to track me down. And actually, I was sent photos of a house I lived in 6 years ago. And I'm freaked the fuck out now because I just went public with my real name.
You messed up, man.
I mentioned that I was a meth addict, and so I'm speed of meth now, or whatever.
Or no, it's speed of
Oh,
pedo.
Speed
of depravity.
I totally told Speed. I totally told Speed during the debate. I'm like, I'll come in at the beginning. I have COVID-19. I'm still here, and now I'm all fucked up. So I should probably just shut up.
Well, it's
Me
curious
too, bud.
because I went into one of Smokey's streams recently because they were calling out the people that apparently defended the Cuties movie, and I had fun in that stream because I didn't support the Cuties movie. I thought it was horrible because of the marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was just one of these things where Smokey, before I had said that, was trying to assume my position. And it was at some point I said I find it hilarious and precious that you're fucking psychic now. Yeah. And I told him look, the way I would have critiqued that movie is I would watch it and I would actually perform an internal critique of the movie. Right? If what I find is detestable about that movie, then in the way of being objective towards an audience, I would go through that movie. I would find specific points of contention that I have against it and, certain cinematic decisions, and I would compile a video, listing those points in a logical, coherent, and concise format, telling my audience why I believe those things, and they just, completely died at that.
Well, yeah, and if you actually watch the whole movie and you're a parent of a small child, as I am, I have a 10-year-old daughter. I watched that movie and I'm like, fuck. I really need to mind what my daughter is subjected to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's none of the pedo porn that they talk about. It's none of the, they literally call speed now. I mean, derogatory terms, inferring that he supports
you and
pedophilia.
I finished that movie last week after Texas indicted Netflix, so I finally finished the last 20 minutes, and I think overall it was a fucking good movie. I don't know.
All that shit was so crazy though when it was going down, because it was just people who haven't seen the movie arguing against people who haven't seen the movie about like all the shit that's in the movie. It's like, Jesus, guys, chill the fuck out.
It is a movie that made me, as a parent of a 10-year-old little girl, what is my daughter doing on the internet? Like that's what the movie did to me, and I'm still thinking about it 3 weeks later.
The thing is, I can understand why some people might think I'm a. Here, I'll show you why I might be a pedophile, because let me just get this image pulled up. Amelia Clark is not a large person, so you can see that picture. She's tiny, baby. She's like 5'2", so I mean I get it, but she's 4 years old, about to be. So it's like, it's not a. Oh my God, everybody. One person made a Twitter post was like, Amelia Clark, therefore God exists, and I'm like, no. Oh no, and I said something like Amelia Clark is God, and I'm like, no. See, Amelia Clark actually exists and actually helps people, whereas God doesn't in either instance, so it just doesn't make sense. Like, Amelia Clark is greater than God. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Well, my most famous example with Matt Powell, right? So he says, look at this picture behind us, and it's a nice little picture, a sculpture created by a human, and he was like, look at that, and that's God. That's like God created us, just like the painter created that painting. And I was like, well, no, because I can go and find that painter, right? And if he's dead, I can go to his fucking grave right now, right?
Well, that's an excellent point that's not brought up very often, which is, what is the criteria for a design in nature? How do you differentiate between the designed and the non-designed? Because these, creationists are cool with these weird, for lack of a better term, the buzzword is like these hypermutation rates post-flood, where you get, the feline kind, then you get all of the felines. So it's like, what kind of change is natural versus designed? Was that change designed, or was that hyperevolution a mechanism? There's all these weird little kinks in the model that can't even begin to be addressed because there's still such gross problems in the foundation.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and here's the other thing too. Oh God.
Matters is on standing for truth. That's all I wanted to say.
It goes in.
Made it immutable. Say, "Oh God."
Should I pop over there and just be like, John? I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it.
He's over there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna scream in the chat.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that, like with what Speed and Erica were talking about earlier, that really goes to show Smokey's point. I mean, actually, it was Speed and Naka making this point, but it's that, and Smokey, as much as has said this, he doesn't care about the actual content of the movie. He cares about information that he's been given, like firsthand, regarding it. And this is true of Evolution, and this is true about the Cuties movie also now. That Smokey does not care about, the actual research that corroborates evolution, or the actual intricacies within the Cuties movie. What matters to him is what he thinks is correct. And if he thinks it's correct, it is correct.
Yeah, like seriously, you cannot watch that movie and come out of it thinking, hey, pedo porn. You just don't. You come out of it thinking, hey, society is really fucked up.
Yeah, but you don't think it's a problem for the person who watched that movie or see the trailer and think that right there is porn or softcore porn?
Yeah, I know.
No, not if you watch it. So if you watch it, it's literally like 5.5 minutes of very provocative shit that in my review of the movie I point out. Like, Leo will back me up on this. like it's a very small, minute portion of the movie. The things that I actually took the most grotesque opinion about would be the supernatural parts. You know, when the little girl is in her underwear and her and she's like being depossessed by her parents. Right. You know, I mean, that's just fucked up.
That was
Rainbow, can we get you to
I didn't see the movie.
Zoom in on that? Ooh, oh my God. That's just
What
so
is
cool.
that? It's some sort of tarantula. Is that?
Yeah, I
that's not a
fucking love
pink-
tarantulas. I love
Oh
them.
my God.
Stupid horror energy and such. It's like whatever.
I've been trying to get my girlfriend to get a tarantula.
Fire.
That'd be so cute.
She's so sweet. This one is so sweet.
What species is it?
Damn it. I was going to ask that.
This is a Chocolades, Arizona Blonde.
Okay.
Wow.
If that was in my room, I would move it. I would move out of my room.
Dude, I got
just start petting it nice, like, oh, you just good.
I have had
arachnophobia.
I have had arachnophobia since the movie Arachnophobia.
Dude, I got graced by this super pretty jumping spider the other day. I'm gonna
Oh
send
my
that to
God. Oh, listen. Speaking of jumping spiders, so I'm raising triops longicaudatus, and from the little
adorable
eggs. They look like these. Hold on, this is the box. One of the boxes that they came in, because I have a couple of different ones. Anyways, I noticed recently that there had been this jumping spider hanging around the tank, and I was like, oh, you know, I hope there isn't a kaiju clash on the on the premises between the spider and the traps, because the traps have gotten pretty big. They're a decent size. And sadly, I came out the other day, and the jumping spider was dead at the bottom of the tank and being feasted upon by the triops. So that is my spider story.
Makes me so sad. They're so cute.
Sad. It was so
Dude,
sad.
have y'all seen the jumping spiders that are dancing to like YMCA?
Love that.
Such a good video.
Rainbug. You'll
find
jumping spider in a second. The orb weaver spider that I posted on Twitter a while ago that's living in my backyard has laid this massive egg sac. It's like golf ball size. It's huge. And she's nowhere to be seen because it's already frosted here. So I think she's probably bit the dust. Yeah. But I think the egg sac is pretty cool. I'm excited for spring.
Yeah, keep your eye on it. I actually have a spider that has an egg sac right up here that's laid, and she's probably going to pass away here soon. So
are you talking like in some sort of container or just like on your wall?
Yeah.
On his wall.
It's just the spider in his ceiling corner.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe he's the kind of guy
just grab it, you know.
Rome, you know. But Erica, you said it's frosted there. Do you live in like fucking Canada?
No. It's frosted in the night, like in the very wee hours of the night.
We had some frost. Say, Brainbug, do you have a stereoscope like this thing here? Like what the fuck? Can you see that? I don't know. I don't know if
I did have a light table that I used, but my dog chewed through the cord when she was going through her teething, so I don't have that anymore.
Anyway, I'm gonna hook my stereoscope up to. I got to get it hooked up to my new Mac and the software. And the camera's kind of shit, but I can show you some neat bugs that I picked up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And they are so cool because this thing will go up to 180 power. So
were you?
Coffin
flies, right?
What's that?
The flies you have were like the coffin flies?
Yeah, they were coffin flies. Yeah, they're awesome.
Guys, it's getting a little late. So
and I want to say good night. I am here way later than I thought I would. I'm only here still because like Aron, Ra, and Erica came in. But hey, Leo, I'll see you at noon tomorrow, and y'all have a good night.
Awesome.
Okay.
Night.
Good night, man. Take care of yourself.
You guys, take it easy.
Feel better.
You too, Immutable.
Yep. Yeah.
Bye.
Pass my bet. Well, I got to go watch Netflix for 2 hours now to decompress.
I know. I gotta go too. I gotta get up for breakfast. My cousin is in town, so you know how that goes.
Hey, I just finished Raised by Wolves, the first season.
Yeah, I've been told it's interesting. I don't have.
Oh my god, it's horrifying in some ways. It really is. It just has so many pieces. There's so many edges to it. It really is worth watching.
Why are people so goddamn afraid of spiders? That's what I don't understand.
I love them.
Yeah, so it's freaking amazing.
No exception. I'm very much wigged out by one kind of spider, and it's the ogre-faced spider. I don't like how big their eyes are. And I don't like the fact that they lose their corneas or whatever and then regrow them every night because they get burned off by the sun. Is that right, Brandbug?
But they threw out those neat nets. That's super cool.
Listen, that means I'm right, and that means I have a reason to be afraid.
I put all my shit in nicotine bottles and I stick them in the freezer. And when I know they've been in there long enough to be dead, then I put them on the microscope.
Dude, I think arthropods are so cool. Like, they're the closest thing that we're ever going to get to aliens, I swear.
Oh.
Like crabs. Dude, I was having this conversation with my friend the other day. All right, so like convergence on the crab body plan is so common in nature that it has a fancy fucking scientific name, carcinization. Look it up, it's a thing, right? If there's aliens, they look like fucking crabs.
Yeah.
You know, John Anthony, I can't answer that question. Some people are just really fucking stupid. But somebody in Standings chat was asking why I'm not a cannibal, and I just don't even
know how to respond to that.
Yeah,
is that a worm?
It's a millipede.
Ooh, listen,
Standing is here. Stanley, my son. We were just talking about
Did he end his stream or what?
Dude, we outlasted the brain trust.
Did we? I never
You go like 6 hours or something.
Oh, I figured when Maddox showed up, they'd end up going for like 8 hours, but
Did Maddox show up?
Wait, no, the channel's still alive. Damn it. Guys, we gotta outlast them. We can't let them beat us.
It was playing.
What?
Oh yeah.
Stanley, we were just talking about beating you to death with a rock on a deserted island. Should have been here.
No, not all talking about beating Standing to death with a rock.
I was thinking it. I was thinking.
Well, I mean, you're gonna think about it like critically. You know, none of this online debating stuff matters because Raw Matt could break Dan in half on a bad day.
I'm not touching that one tonight. I am not touching that topic tonight. Golly. I don't know. They may have entered their stream or Standing may just be visiting us. That's possible. He does visit sometimes.
Yeah, they're still live.
Oh man, I'm trying to think.
Go 20 hours. Wow.
Yes, Stanley. I left to get milk and I abandoned you. I'm sorry.
My daddy left for cigarettes 28 years ago, and I ain't seen him since.
Yeah, that's why he's out to get me.
No, they're going for 20 hours this time. Standing says that would. You know what?
Yeah.
I think we can do better than 20. 20 isn't impressive for the brain trust. If they went for like 40 hours, I would be like, now there's a stream.
Yeah.
20 is weak. You got to at least round to 24.
Weak sauce. Weak.
And if you're going to round to 24, you might as well round to 25. Come on now. Maybe that's my OCD talking. I don't know.
Perpetual live stream.
Yeah, so that's the thing is the OCD, because for some people it's 2s, like rounding to even numbers, and for some people it's 5s, and for some people it's 10s, right? So it's like, how does that work?
Where is Stanley's stream? I can't find Stanley's stream. Is it dead?
I don't know.
It looks like it's still up.
Really?
What the fuck did I don't know what I just did. I did something.
What's happening?
Yeah, it's there right there. Nephilim free versus
We left the creationist and came back an evolutionist.
Listen, Walker, if you said close crabs are the closest thing we're gonna get to aliens. Don't get me started on the aliens topic, my dude.
You know, me and Colton were talking about that like an hour, probably 2 hours ago. But yeah, we were talking about that.
Myself and the individual involved, we have an alien pact. We've recently been converted to the. There's some weird shit going on. It's horrible.
Yeah, he was telling me about it. I'll be honest, I'm kind of dubious, but we'll see.
No, dude, the documentary, The Phenomenon, scared me a lot. It came out very recently, and I was like, wait a second. What's going on here? There's a lot of weird stuff happening on that whole deal with the Pentagon releasing stuff that's like, okay, why did they not know what's happening? So look into it. Don't get me started.
The Phenomenon, you said?
Yeah, you can rent it for like, or maybe you have to buy it. I don't know. Someone in the chat, tell me. The Phenomenon.
Is this like a movie or what?
It's a documentary that just came out. It basically updates all the basically the UFO stuff was pretty dead in the water until 2017. And then the Pentagon came out and was like, hey, we're declassifying a bunch of documents. And with that came a bunch of like audio and visual recordings from the USS Nimitz out in the Gulf. There's just some really weird videos that came out of that, and I'm not 100% sure what to make of them. I'm not saying aliens. Let me be very clear. I'm not saying aliens.
So the one problem,
weird, and I personally think it might be.
The one problem I have with these UFOs is when you see them accelerate or something. Inherently, if something starts moving that fast, there's going to be sonic booms. The heat from the friction is going to cause it to glow, but we don't see any of that. The second thing is that the universe is so fucking big.
I know.
That I mean, it's 25 trillion with a T miles to the closest star to the sun.
Okay,
and
so
that's only 4.2 light years away. Betelgeuse is 643 light years away, and the center of the Milky Way is 27,000. The whole Milky Way galaxy is 200,000 light years across, and the closest galaxy to us is 2.5 million light years away. There's just, and secondly, any species that is that advanced doesn't have a reason to come here.
No, my tinfoil hat, hell yeah, we get some aliens. My tinfoil hat answer to that is anything that is going to be able to cross those distances to get here will probably also have the sonic boom heat thing figured out. And by figured out, I mean it's all physics defying. Like you get down to it and all of it seems physics defying, but I don't know what else to make of it. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. Me and our mutual acquaintance Walker, we are on hashtag the Tic Tac is not a drone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical, but maybe the documentary will convince me. I'll have a tab saved so I remember it tomorrow.
I'm telling you, it's not going to convince you of aliens, but you're going to walk out of that and you're going to be like, this is really weird. I wonder what's happening. You'll at least say that.
My favorite documentary is still Behind the Curve. That's a good one.
Behind the Curve. Oh my God.
Did that convince you, Walker?
Outside of like
Did that convince you, Behind the Curve?
That there is a 15-mile-per-hour drift and that you can't shine a light between two separate points. Yeah. What is it? And that's my favorite, like, just like sit down and mindlessly watch something documentary. That's a good one. I have a documentary list.
It's called Behind the Curve.
That I like.
Behind the Curve.
They debunk flat Earth.
I believe
not debunk, but
isn't Jeranism in that? Doesn't he appear in that?
Yeah, Jeranism, Bob, what's his name?
The Bob
Sargent, I think. Yeah. A bunch of the flat earthers. Fucking who's that guy that Erica debated? He makes a quick
Nathan
cameo in
Thompson.
it. Yeah, Nathan Thompson makes a cameo in it with his hammers and ping pong balls.
I can't debate flat earthers because I don't want to spend a debate giving a basic lecture on classical mechanics.
Okay. So here's my whole position on that. I think flat earthers aren't really worth taking seriously because they're ultimately conspiratorial, right?
No.
But creationists at least have their belief rooted in some sort of deeper theology. Well, no one's a creationist just because they don't trust the science. I mean, maybe, but that's not like a
too though. It's not mutually exclusive. There. Flat earthers are young Earth creationists as well.
Yeah, if you don't believe the science on one thing, then you're probably not going to believe
it on anything.
But I just think flat earthers aren't really worth actively engaging in because they're not endorsed by any specific denomination,
And the thing is too, if you can't agree on space being real, I'm not really sure that there's a lot you can agree on.
My one question about that is, well, if space doesn't exist, what does this flat Earth exist in?
Usually they say something like a large turtle's back, or maybe an African.
Water is another big one.
Yeah,
they think it's the Great Deep, right? So the Earth is floating on top, the flat Earth is floating on top of the Great Deep, and the tides are caused by the Great Deep bobbing up and down in the water.
Listen, the real mind blower is that our entire world and indeed our reality is simply a bubble and hugging the edge of a hydrothermal vent on the ocean of some distant universe. And
honestly,
and that's the firmament. The bubble is the firmament.
I could believe that we're in a flask in some fucking not necessarily God, but super advanced extraterrestrials fourth grade science project.
I'm down, dude. Mess me up, man. I'm game. Any kind of weird stuff that.
He must not be named was talking about how our monkey brains are allowed at least one non-scientific belief. So
no, yes, myself and our mutual acquaintance both are utilizing ours on UFOs. So that's and it was a tough one between that one and Bigfoot.
When I was a little kid, I believed every atom was a galaxy or was a universe of itself.
That's some Susie shit right there.
You remember the end of Men in Black?
Yep. With the galaxy and the marble.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
It's Whoville.
Or more cryptic.
Yeah, Whoville. That's important. Here's a Who syndrome. That's what I think of it too.
SFB mod, or Joel as we love to call him, is very active.
You're welcome.
We're on Standing for Truth channel.
Yeah. SFB mod refuses to have a discussion with me on physics because I would rape him every which way from something.
Did you see what he just posted about physics?
He keeps talking about the founder of quantum physics and keeps citing Max Planck. Max Planck didn't found quantum mechanics. There isn't one person that founded it.
Well, then he claims to be doing AI programming now, and I know that he pretty much isn't. AI heuristic layer programming or some fucking thing. It's like, what a bullshitter. That guy drives me nuts.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yep. So what should I go watch? Phenomenon, or should I go start fucking? I gotta finish.
Fucking what exactly?
Fucking what? I'm gonna go watch some, either Phenomenon or what the hell is the other HBO series with
Raised by Wolves?
Lovecraft Country. I finished Raised by Wolves last night.
Oh, my fiance loves Lovecraft Country. He loves it. He literally is bonkers for Lovecraft Country.
I watched 2 episodes, and I guess it gets weirder, and weirder.
I don't know. He really likes it, and apparently, I don't know. I'd yell at him, but he's in the midst of a serious gamer moment right now. So.
Yeah,
is he within your vicinity? Your vicinity? Whoa. Is he within your vicinity, Erica?
My fiance?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 2 doors down.
Oh, I meant like in the same room. Like.
Oh no! He's not in here right now. No.
Okay.
You better hope there aren't aliens, Erica, because I don't think they're going to find us very bright.
No, me and our mutual acquaintance have agreed that if there are aliens, that's a really bad deal because big monkey tribalism is just a thing that happens.
Well, then we'll finally achieve globalism.
Yes, at last.
The one thing that I love about people who argue that aliens exist is that they always say, well, they need to come here for resources. And so I'm like, what resources? The one I always get the most often is, well, they need to come here for gold. And I'm like, what? Why?
No,
they're like, well, because Earth's got so much gold. I'm like, no, it doesn't. They're like,
meteors, asteroids.
We've got like what is it? 1/160 billionth of Earth's mass is gold, maybe.
So
the average neutron star merger deposits on average 217 Earth masses in gold. And that's just the gold. That's not the iron. That's not the iridium. That's not the xenon. That's not the plutonium. That's not the uranium and all the other elements that they would need.
I think if aliens would come here, I think the only reason they'd come here is because there would be something here that isn't anywhere else, and that tends to be the kind of life that's here. So, in my opinion, if there's aliens doing visiting stuff here, it would probably be for the same reason why we study a lot of animal groups, social animal groups.
It would be research. It would be
just curious. Yeah.
If they're researching us, my opinion would be, and it is just an opinion, that they're going to do it in a way that we don't know.
Okay,
they're doing it because they don't want to interfere and affect that and disrupt our ecosystem by us knowing that it wouldn't surprise me if we're being watched by extraterrestrial races in a way that we will never fucking know that they're doing it, and they're probably laughing at it.
Oh my God, playing the Cuties movie. Did you notice that? Top Dog is playing clips from the Cuties movie.
Is that what Cuties looks like?
Yeah, that's a dance scene for the Cuties movie.
Dance scene in space. the 0G planes.
I think Brainbug wanted to chime in on the whole aliens thing.
Aliens are cool as hell. Oh shit! Hello, you must not be named.
I said Brainbug, not Walker.
As far as my opinion on aliens, I did actually a couple of weeks ago I did a video about aliens. I'd love for aliens to be to be discovered. I don't know that I'm sold on the UFO thing, though. It'd be awesome.
My take is I want aliens to desperately be real. I don't want intelligent life to be here because that's where the tribalism kicks in. I don't care if you're for peace. I don't care if God himself comes down as a mediator and says, no, trust me, they're here peacefully. I'm nuking God and the aliens. You are not coming to my planet, and I will enforce this with violence.
Good luck getting your hands on it, my guy.
We come in peace.
Full dark forest theory. Just retract. Don't let the other life in the universe know you exist. That is my
Can you
strategy.
get an additional endorsement for the documentary The Phenomenon from you?
The phenomenon is. It freaked me out to the point where my little ball python came out to like look at me because I was like spooked.
Boom, that's two skeptics. Watch The Phenomenon.
Yeah, come on. It's great.
Is it on
I don't
Netflix?
know what platform it's on.
You can rent it on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
I don't have.
I paid $12 to
I got Prime.
Walker. I don't care what you call me as. It's my real name. It doesn't matter.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to make sure because I got corrected.
No, it's okay. I don't care.
Who's Mr.
What are
Will?
we calling Wilfred?
Oh,
now?
the Corporal Anon was my old account, but I had
no
to
shit.
with someone on Reddit who
It's you.
learned my real name, and so I had to kind of deal with that.
It's him. It's he who must not be named. We can call him Voldemort too.
Voldemort,
the sequel.
You guys want to know a fun piece of trivia? The T in Voldemort is actually silent. The name is to be pronounced Voldemort, and J.K. Rowling herself, despite the fact that she's a fucking Tory, confirmed it.
Really?
Also,
Did
where's
you see
RJ?
her
I
like?
just see him here, but he's not like doing anything.
Hi, RJ.
RJ, can you hear us?
RJ.
I'm sorry.
This computer cannot handle it.
Yeah.
I'm sort of here.
Welcome.
We hear you.
So can we have Erica and I versus like Dapper Dinosaur and RJ on if UFOs might be aliens?
Well, I mean, like you can never completely dismiss something.
Well,
you know?
the thing is, I want two people who I want the argument to be: should it be considered versus two other people who say it is so unlikely that it shouldn't be considered a possibility.
I don't really think it should be considered, but
yeah,
I'll let someone else speak on that.
One of them. You can be one of our opponents, and we
Be
can...
one, Walker. Listen, come on. I'll take y'all down.
Do you guys think James would go for something like this?
I'll watch the phenomenon first, see if my mind changes.
And the great thing is, it's part of the anti-SFT brain trust infighting each other, which is fantastic.
More importantly, are they arthropods? That's what I want to know.
I'm telling you, fucking crabs, dude.
That's a good question, though. Their brain.
Yeah, what's in the drone? Do they look like crabs? What's in the Tic Tac drone?
Listen, that's the question. What is within the Tic Tac? That's what we need to be asking.
What's in the center of a Tootsie Pop?
What is it? Yeah, in this case, it is a reptoid.
What's in the center of a non-ballistic Tic Tac?
Yeah, the non-ballistic Tic Tac.
Hexapodal is the most common body design. That's what I'm going with. Hexapods are what are inside.
Oh my god, they'd be so cute. I would love that.
Don't start falling out of the tribalism. You have to be vehemently only Earth life.
No, I know.
We are the crab people.
Okay,
That's the thing.
what if the aliens were like super fucking advanced and they wanted to kill us and eat us, and they were just like super really evil, but they looked exactly like puppies?
We'd have to surrender.
I feel like that's an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog you just described.
I think it's an episode of Futurama, but they're cats, and instead of killing people, they just want to like.
Yeah, they're trying to stop the rotation of the Earth to transfer that rotational momentum back to their planet. Don't ask me how I know the details of that episode because Futurama is like one of my favorite shows.
Futurama is dope. I've probably listened to all the seasons of Futurama a ton, though. My fiance listens to it when he's falling asleep, so I hear many of the episodes. But I was going to say something else about all of that stuff. It was, let's see, we're talking about Futurama, we're talking about the aliens being cute. We're talking about.
What if the aliens were sexy? Like really, really.
You do not want to
I would be very confused how they convergently evolved on the human body plan.
Yeah,
What
here's the question, Leo. What if they were all just Emilia Clarke clones?
Here's the thing. If the aliens have a great
DNA base,
that's proof they're demons.
Yeah, they're just all demons. That's right.
If they are non-DNA based, but like Emilia Clarke clones, then I would like offhandedly believe in a god.
For those of you who don't know, Creation Ministries International, that one of the big three creationist organizations,
right?
They have come out and said that we can't explain the UFOs as hoaxes, or at least some of them as hoaxes. But if they're really extraterrestrial, well, that means we're wrong, and we definitionally can't be wrong. We signed a contract. So they are just demons trying to make people disbelieve in creationism.
What if the Mormons were right all along?
Really stupid. I watched the documentary they made on it. It was really dumb.
Listen, I was a really big fan of the Catholics covering their asses when the Pope came out and was like, yeah, I mean, if there's like extraterrestrials, like, you know, we'll witness to them. It'll be great. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. Whatever.
I'm sure they would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like when I'm witness to, so I don't think aliens would particularly.
I remember what I was going to say. Okay, if aliens were to come here for this for any reason, I can almost guarantee you it's not to eat humans because we are like nutritionally devoid. Like
you're working on the assumption.
And why would they even have the nutritional requirements that like Earth life would satisfy?
Yeah, we would just be. We also just are notorious for being like predators' least favorite snacks when compared to everything else.
But Erica, what if their bodies are so much more efficient at processing nutrients that we actually turn out to be the ideal livestock? Come on.
Oh my God!
Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Team Terran, nuke them as soon as they show up.
Team Terran.
If we're going the humans are the resources route, I want it to be like, you know, like Monsters Inc. and our laughter like powers their machines or something. It's just like something very wholesome. And not
you're missing the first part of that story.
That would be ideal, yeah.
Do what?
You're missing the first part of the story where it was the screams and the fear. And what if that is the most efficient?
That's fucked up because I'm autistic, and they would want all the autistic people for their screeching.
We're skipping that whole part of the movie.
we skipped the part that's inconvenient for us. Okay, Christian.
Yeah. We're going right to the good part ending. Like, I'm game to sit in a room and like look at funny memes the whole day and like help out an extraterrestrial race.
Dude,
I don't want to do
my time.
Livestock thing. I don't want to do the thing where it's like they want all our resources. I'm out on all those.
I was actually most screwed up as a kid by Battle Los Angeles because it was like humans were the inconvenience. They want our water.
What if they landed and they like started handing us watchtowers?
I'll not take
That's all they wanted to do is
UFO position. I'll the resurrection.
Hey, what?
What? Repeat that. Sorry, you kind of cut out.
RJ.
Uh-oh.
Rip RJ.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, my circles are going around here. I'll not only take the anti-UFO position in a discussion, I'll also use the Roswell incident as a reason to be doubtful of the resurrection.
Wait, Colton, do you want to take the Roswell part or do you want me to? Because we've got the Roswell part covered.
Here's the thing, Erica. With Phenomenon, I'm skeptical of their coverage of Roswell. That's one of the things I'm iffy on. I need to do more research on that one.
I'm skeptical too, but from what I did see, I feel like if there's ever a case where people, like the government, in any government, any leader doesn't know what's going on, they'll just make shit up so that no one.
My main stance is that the government is absolutely too stupid and also too willing to put their head in the sand to even try to make a cover up. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's an easy thing it's like a really low cost or low risk, low reward.
I think the easiest case you could make is just wait until a bunch of rednecks start claiming they got abducted and then say, well, if you believe that, then you're a redneck. And nobody wants to come out and say they have anything similar with rednecks. Yeah. So that's how you just get it covered up.
Dude, there is a very publicized abduction very close to where I am right now at a state park. And I'm trying not to dox myself again because now I'm nervous that I don't know. I don't want people to know where I live.
I already got stalked, so it doesn't matter anymore to me.
Yeah, I know, but it matters to me. I am scared of others. You got the, you go to the gym. I don't go to the gym.
Well, that sounds like that's your fault, isn't it?
Okay.
It's $10 a month for Planet Fitness. Come on, you have no.
Yeah, but Planet Fitness tells you that you can't max out if you're making other people feel bad. So
that's the point. You can only get maxed out if you make other people feel bad. That's the point.
Planet Fitness is my corporate nemesis. Like Planet Fitness is who I hate.
I go against Planet Fitness because corporation's bad. Okay, enjoy not being stacked.
Dude, Planet Fitness gives out like fucking donuts and shit to keep you like locked in the cycle.
Is that Planet Fitness's fault for making a good business decision, or is it your fault for stuffing your face with donuts?
I like this guy. He's asking the real question.
No. I moved to another country an ocean away, and Planet Fitness, despite 4 separate phone calls explicitly canceling my membership, continued to charge me for the duration of my stay.
Because you should be at the gym.
No, yeah, over the summer I worked at a gym. Fuck Planet Fitness.
I'm coming for the Planet Fitness CEO. I'm coming for them with these bony knuckles. There will be no survivors.
Maybe that's the ultimate way to get rid of the aliens. We just need to charge their credit cards with Planet Fitness memberships, and then they'll leave because they don't want to deal with the enemy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the ultimate weapon.
My son actually got kidnapped by one of the. I think it was because of life. Yeah, they fucking locked him in a room with a bunch of salesmen, and they were being real imposing, and he was afraid to leave. And they had him for like 45 minutes giving him a sales pitch, and he finally escaped. And it was like, what the fuck?
Dude, that sounds like a timeshare.
It was pretty close. Yeah,
oh, that's too funny.
It was close.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's
I'm gonna be out of here because I gotta be at breakfast early in the morning. Tom,
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. here.
Yeah, I should probably get out of here too.
I'm getting ready to bounce out too because it is starting to get late.
Okay.
This is fun, my guys. Yeah, I also probably need to...
What did we owe? We did 2 hours and 45 minutes. We haven't beat our record yet. I think our record was 2 hours and 50.
Dude, if we want to even catch up to praise, like we got some ground to cover.
27-hour streams. Like he had one stream where he had 11 hours of dead air at the end of it. Like,
that might be convenient though, because then we won't have to make like new streams every time. We could just have one stream going, and just join in whenever we want to say something.
Yeah, well, let's cats ban it. Okay, guys.
Discord though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's too damn funny.
Third rock from the sun. Yeah. I think I've doxed myself to within like 20 houses. So, yeah.
I always tell people, dude, I live in rural Iowa. If you can navigate the cornfields, come and find me. End of the laneway. Don't come up the property.
Yep. But I don't know. I look forward to a chance to use my weapon. So.
Let me pull a Maddox chuckle.
Yeah, pull a Maddox.
I mean, people could definitely dox me at this point. If people cared enough, I just want to make it hard for any creationist who happens to watch it and live in my hometown.
Yeah. Well, they can figure out my name pretty fucking easy because I kind of blew it with Facebook and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't really give a shit anymore.
I got doxxed by a younger creationist.
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to send somebody I knew like personally from Facebook, from my own personal Facebook account, and I tried to set them up to go on the Empathetic Atheist, and I come into the after party, and he said, "Oh, Brainbug, you're so and so from Facebook, right?" So yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't go by my face. Plausible deniability, guys.
I'm gonna end the live stream. Hang around for just a second, guys. After I get off live.
Okay.
Anyway, goodbye all out there. I'm gonna end this live stream right now.
Stan,